Corvette held you up a little bit over here. That was nice of it.
The problem is he's so fast on the straight and slow on the corner. I guess that's a practical.
Yeah. How's the car feel with the lower tire pressure?
Feels better on the low speed, but not as good on the high speed.
Okay, so we'll leave them where they are then.
Yeah.
Just leave them where they are.
Although, the only thing I'm curious, is there a pressure difference between left and right?
There.
There.
Alright,
just like that. What comes around goes around, my man. Say hey, hey, say hey, hey. Forth and back, and just like that, you're going down for heaven's gate. I'm gonna tell it to me right, we're going down.
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, guys. We're live again. How about that? How about that? It's like I just saw you guys yesterday. Because I did. All right, guys. Outspoken Samantha will be here shortly. I'm not sure that we are on the same time because I think it didn't occur to me that we're still on daylight time and Texas may not use daylight time anymore. So we will see. I'll send her a message. Um, that or she may be having trouble with the software, which some people still do have trouble with the software that I'm using, and um, let me just send a text here. You right? And see what she's probably just delayed. That's okay. We're gonna get started here, and yeah, we're gonna move along pretty quickly tonight. I'm just gonna go quickly. We got a lot of cool people out in the chat already tonight. Anson Knowles was the first guy to clock in to do work. Seriously, Shelby Flan Life is in the house. James Life talks. He's down in Florida, guys. So wish him well. He's seems to be okay so far. Let's hope it stays that way. K2 Keep on Trucking is in the house. Mr. is in the house, and he's we've had a good conversation already. We've got obviously the bot WND is in the house to make your life miserable. Heartbender, I see you out there. Shazzy Bear is can't stay long, but she's here, and we appreciate her being here. All right, Will is out there. Will, good to see you back in the chat. 13 is out there. I see him. And let's see who else. Buck White, obviously, he's out there. He's a good guy. He showed up. We're ready to do work. I see also who else, man? We got like Damien, our resident parkour pro, Mr. Boulay. Mr. Boulay, good to see you back. I don't know why my camera is adjusting the aperture back and forth like that, but I don't know. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. Fredo Fonzarelli is in the house, and well, Are We Not Men is made it. He's here. He's the guy. And Angel Berber obviously is really good. Believe in Yourself BIY is here. Wow, we've got an all-star group, all stars in the house tonight. Glad to see each and every one of you in the house. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully, my lights eventually settle down. Welcome, Outspoken Samantha. This is my chat and my folks here. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
All right. Guys, just really quickly, what we're going to be talking about tonight, I think I may have talked to you guys about it a little bit previously, or is that we're going to talk about the work-life balance, if there is such a thing, from the traditional Christian worldview, maybe the red pill and manosphere worldview, and if we can, we'll try and look at it through the worldview of the secularist leftist. I don't know if I can get there, but we'll do what we can. And guys, remember that I'm not able to really look at the chat, especially when I have a guest. So if you want to see anything on the screen, you're going to have to super chat. I know it sucks if it's your last dollar, don't do it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. But if you want to see your thoughts up on screen, super chat. Streamlabs is the best way to do that. Although obviously YouTube works. $20 and up, they trigger the TTS and they will be read instantly by the computer. I say instantly; it takes a minute for it to work through. And let's see what else we got here as my opening remarks. I think that's kind of about it. And with that, and now that I've sort of introduced Outspoken Samantha, if you could just really quickly just talk to the chat, and they're nice people, and and just let them know who you are, where you've been, all of that sort of thing.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have just a conversation about this tonight, but just a little bit about me. I mean, we're currently in Texas. My family and I moved here from Colorado a few years ago, and that was after I ran for state house. That was kind of my first experience in politics. And after that, when we moved to Texas, everybody was like, "Are you going to run for office again?" And I was like, I don't know if that's my calling in life. So but I have a passion about things that are going on in the world, about current events. I watch a lot of the news. Well, not like the news, but I pay attention to what is going on. But I also have a lot of concerns about what is going on as far as our values as a society, values as far as, raising children, and particularly when there seems to be so many things that are working against us and particularly our kids and our families. I have a passionate about at least offering my perspective, offering my opinion, and just talking about things and hopefully keeping people engaged so that we don't completely disconnect from each other and lose that ability to communicate. So that's what I spend a lot of my time doing. I have 3 kids. I'm married, and we're just trying to juggle all of that. And I have been a business owner for a long time as well. So I kind of do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. That's interesting enough. Yeah. So you what did you do when you were in Colorado? When we talked briefly, it sounded like you were employed there, then you ran for office, and then you've become a stay-at-home mom because obviously that's demanding enough.
A little bit, just a little bit. Well, I mean, I've been a business owner for a long time, so I primarily do makeup and hair for weddings.
Oh, okay.
So completely different than anything, that I spend a lot of my time doing now. But, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, but I always knew that I kind of had a passion for this industry. And it's interesting because I feel like there's such a stigma when it's like, I'm going to go to beauty school, I'm going to get my cosmetology license. But I knew it was something that I enjoyed, but I also knew I wanted to do something with my life that I was passionate about. I watched my parents. My parents were extremely hard workers. I have no complaints about that, but they were also working at jobs that neither one of them liked for most of my life. And I promised I was never going to do that. I didn't know what I would do if I went to college, and that didn't make sense to me to spend a lot of money on something that I really wasn't sure about. So I got my cosmetology license and started my own business. And it was something where I was able to, kind of have that little break, get out of the home, but work and offer and contribute to my family financially, but also be primarily home with my kids, particularly when they were younger. So I was able to be home, 5 days a week, and then go do a few events on the weekend and then come back. And I'm very lucky that I was able to do that. So that's what I did primarily in Colorado. And then I ran for office. So
What was that like?
Running for office? Well,
yeah,
I don't know if I recommend it. Like I said, I don't know if it was my calling in life, but it's the one and only time I've ever done that. And my campaign started just before COVID. So yeah. So there were a lot of things that we just weren't able to do. We couldn't go out really and campaign. You can't go around knocking on people's doors, whether I personally didn't have as many fears about what was going on as a lot of people did, but I was in a very blue city, very Democrat area. So I knew that I just couldn't go up, and meet face to face with people as much as I needed to. There was also when I feel like BLM and Antifa were really getting riled up at that time. I specifically went to, it was some kind of an event for the police. And when I went to this event, I got there a few minutes late, so I missed some of the chaos that had already taken place. But Antifa had pretty much taken over the event, threatening and yelling at people. We had squads of police everywhere in their riot gear. And I had, somebody come up to me and say that they wanted to stab me.
Wow. All right.
inclusive and tolerant of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and I kind of got separated from the people that I was with. So I was kind of by myself, and I was standing there, and I had these people coming towards me and screaming at me, and somebody saying that they would love to stab me right there. And I was like, I was so dazed. And I remember these two guys came in and just like, I didn't even know they were there, and stood in between me and these people that were coming towards me, and just kind of stopped the whole thing. So I don't know where these guys came from. I didn't see them after. I feel like I maybe had a couple of guardian angels right then, but so it was a very interesting time to be running for office. That's for sure.
We're really going to have to talk about the tolerant left at some point. It's got to be a future show.
Yep.
How tolerant the tolerant left really isn't.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah. So as far as my experience, I mean, if there was ever a time to run for office and basically have like baptism by fire, that was my only experience. So I'm sure it's not like that normally, but I don't know if I would do it again, especially in today's political climate. I just don't know if that's for me.
And I'm assuming you ran on a conservative ticket. Were you
Yep.
Were you an independent, or were you on the Republican ticket?
I was on the Republican ticket. So
Nice.
yeah, in Denver. It was a good time.
Now, were you actually running in Denver, or were you running in
Mhm.
Aurora or wherever?
No, I was in Denver. It was State House District 1 in Denver.
District 1.
So right in the
Well,
middle.
you didn't really have a chance. So
Nope.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's
I
unfortunate.
tried. And I mean, from what I could see, I got the most votes of any Republican to ever run in that area. So I guess that's a good thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
All
I
right.
still lost by a lot. So
So, and I asked you that because I wanted to kind of move into our topic of the night, and that is this idea of work-life balance. And so for me, I don't actually understand that term because I never had such a thing. And I'm not really sure that normal people really think about it in those terms.
mhm.
It feels to me like something that's contrived by people that feel entitled to something maybe that they don't actually earn. That's just my sense of it. I don't know what your sense of it is.
Mhm.
And it had to have been tough for you when you were campaigning. Obviously, that's a 24/7 job. So I'm very curious your viewpoint on it as we move into the subject.
Mhm. Well, as I was campaigning, I mean, we were very lucky when we were living in Colorado. That's where my husband's from. That's where his family lives. So my in-laws were 10 minutes away.
Mm,
So I was able to have, and thankfully, like they're wonderful people. Um, so I have no reservations about my kids being with them all the time. So to have that support, I think makes a huge difference, especially when you're doing something that you really think needs to happen to benefit your children, to benefit their friends, to benefit the next generation. When it comes that it's kind of trying to figure out how to balance those priorities. And it's I mean, I was reading something just before we went live, and I just to search a general like work-life balance, what is the perspective here? And just in this one article, it says, in short, work-life balance is the state of equilibrium where a person equally prioritizes the demands of one's career and the demands of one's personal life. And I don't think that that's a thing. And like, even if you are spending more time, that if there is a time when you have to spend more time away from home, or you have a job that's more demanding, it doesn't mean that that job is a greater priority to you than your family.
yes.
So, my family is always my top priority, and everything I do is with them in mind. So I
Okay.
don't I don't think there's such a thing as equally prioritizing each thing. I mean, you do what you have to do to make sure your family's needs are met, but my work will never even come close to being the level of priority that my family is.
I hate to bring him into it, but do you feel like your husband feels the same way?
Absolutely. I feel like we have that same value.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, without hesitation.
Okay. So that's interesting because from my perspective, right now, I built several businesses. And my wife and I had a little bit different trajectory. I'm sure you don't actually probably know this, and a lot of my chat may not know this because I don't actually talk about it very much. But I got married late. I got married when I was 35. My wife is 11 years younger than me. You know, we can have a whole other. We can have a discussion one evening about age gap relationships and my personal views on how people should get married and not get married. We could do that. That'd be great. Actually, I would really, I really enjoy that particular topic. Um, but you know, for the first 5 years, we didn't have children. We did all of the things. You know, we went on the cruises. We had, you know, we went to Vail for, you know, the for Christmas. We did all of the things that people might want to do, but they can't because they have kids. Then we had kids. In the middle of that, my wife got a master's in finance from DU. She worked a regular like 9 to 5 job, but I worked like I work like a dog. I mean, I'm talking. You know, there was a period of time where I wasn't really home for about a month because I was between being at the shop and working and then traveling to the different events or just being on the road to the events. I just wasn't there. And so my wife and my mother-in-law were really kind of in that caregiver role, right? Because I couldn't be there for my son. But that was okay because he's a little guy, and he, you know what? I'm a dude, right? Like I changed like 4 diapers the whole time, right? Like this is her time. This is where she shines, I think. But um, somewhere around, you know, and then I retired. I retired early, and then it became I took over the role of being um that caregiver for my or the not caregiver but the I took over the education of my son, but I also took over more of a um household role, I guess you would say. Not really leader of the household because I it wasn't that I was seeding it originally. It was more that I would, you know, I'm building a bunch of businesses. I have a lot of stuff going on, and um if we're to liken it to the olden days, I was off at war and my wife was at home, right? And so I don't understand work life balance because to me the as a male, and maybe I'm just old fashioned this way, but the providing for my family is the most important thing. Like me physically being there to to actually like take care of or I shouldn't say take care. Me actually being there is secondary to making sure that the family is provided for, right? Because that's my role, and we have role. Can we agree that we definitely have roles as
Yeah,
men and women? Okay,
absolutely.
and yeah, because I should have started with that. I should have started with that. I didn't. Um, Hang on one second. Daniel Price, you will find my chat does not take kindly to rude people, and you're probably going to end up getting banned, which is something that's rare. But if you talk about my wife, the mods like my wife, and they're not going to like you. So I'm just warning you. I'm warning you. I'm not doing anything, but I bet you don't stay long. I digress. But everybody's got to have their haters.
Yes.
And I just let the mods know that they're weapons free. They can do whatever they want. Normally, unless it's TOS, I don't care. But you don't talk about my family and you don't talk about anybody else's family. That's off limits. You can come at me all you want. The mods are vicious people. Anyway, so my idea of work-life balance is maybe a little different. And I don't know that I don't know that if I had I know that we would not have the life today that we have if I had reduced down and taking a more traditional 9 to 5 or whatever job. And I don't know that we would be where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure we wouldn't. And I think that's but now look, we can take my brother who's exactly like he has a 9 to 5. That's all he wants out of life. He would rather work his shift and get off and go play frisbee golf and then go home and have dinner and all of that. I was never like that. So, and that's just me. And I'm not red pill. I'm red pill adjacent-ish, maybe, kind of.
Uh-huh.
I criticize red pill a lot. I'm more closer to manosphere, but not really.
Yeah.
I'm a constitutional conservative, so that carries certain things with it. And so so that's where I kind of stand on it. From a traditional Christian role, I believe that is the more correct role that a man plays. And I think that's my issue with the idea of work-life balance is from a traditional Christian viewpoint, the man's a provider. He has to go do what he has to do to provide for the family. There is no such thing as work-life balance for him. For the rest of the family, that's probably there's something that resembles work-life balance. I couldn't actually find anything biblically that dealt with work-life balance. I did send you a verse. I don't know if you looked it up, but it deals with teaching your son, right, to be a hang on, I got it here. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. And that's through the lens of faith, that it kind of in theory it highlights the significance of raising your kids in a stable, loving environment, but I don't know that really has to do with work-life balance. So I'm like super interested to hear your comments here. I'm sorry. I talked for a long time. I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. And just something about me and our mutual friend, Joe Mobley. I think it was him who pointed it out to me that he was listening to a chat that I was having with somebody else, a live stream I was doing. And he said, I'm really good at like just listening and then I talk. And like a big rule in my home is not to interrupt people. So I have a hard time just like jumping in and like interrupting. So I will let you talk as long as you need or want to finish your thoughts. And then I offer mine. So I know I watch a lot of people's live streams and there are people bouncing back and forth and it's totally fine. But I have a hard time doing that. So that's why that's me. That's generally how I operate. But
okay, great. Yeah, totally cool. I will make a concerted effort to be much briefer than I normally am.
And that wasn't a hint that you need to like that wasn't like passive aggressive. I'm like, hey,
don't talk so much.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think it really, this whole work-life balance thing, I think it really depends on what your definition of that is, because, as I read in just in that brief little article, it's this idea of equal prioritization, or when we talk about balance, it's having, an equal effort of whatever it is, the priorities in your life, distributing your energy equally into those things. And I don't necessarily see it that way, because I do think that it is a man's role. It's his priority to make sure that his family is provided for. And sometimes that looks like that traditional 9 to 5 role. Sometimes you have a job where you travel a lot, where you're gone a lot, or it is much more demanding. To me, it's this, what you're doing versus what your wife doing. Those are all things that are contributing to the household as a whole. And for me, as long as both myself and my husband are keeping our family as the top priority, and the work doesn't become more of a priority, where you don't have any more of that positive energy, where all of your effort and your work is the only place that gets the best version of you, whereas your family gets like the grumpy version of you because you're too tired, that's when you know that balance is off, and that you're exerting too much into your work, and not saving enough, and not cutting back enough to be able to give the good side of yourself to your kids and your family. So, I have no problem with men that work long hours and have these demanding careers and whatnot. To me, it just gets to the point where understanding when you kind of need to have that cutoff, because all your family is getting is this exhausted, tired, grumpy version of you, and you're not maintaining that connection with the people in your household, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I actually just had a conversation with someone the other day, and they were talking about how, oh, pardon me. No, it wasn't a conversation. I was having a conversation about a video that we had both seen. The video is that this woman had divorced her husband because she had to take care of the children. That was really her only job. She complained about that job. He worked ridiculous hours, overtime, all of it to provide for them. And in her, when she talks about it, she talks about, when you listen to the video, which I wish I had. I'm ill prepared, as always. But she admits that he gives them everything they need. She doesn't need to do anything. His hours are crappy. Obviously, to get the good money, he has to take the shifts nobody else wants. And she acknowledges all of that, but she's angry with him and starts a fight with him because she needed him to watch their daughter, and he took a nap. And that just was like the most ridiculous thing to her. And I'm thinking, what? like the pardon me. The guy works horrible hours, and when he's home, instead of making it a pleasant place that he comes home to and has and is able to have some balance in his life, you heap work on him so that he can't take a nap. It's weird. It's interesting. I think that I heard you said something really interesting, and I don't think there is such a thing traditionally as work-life balance, because there was always work to be done. Historically, we have it easier. We are able to come up with this idea because of the luxuries that we've enabled ourselves to have. And so it used to be that you would have, for example, a planting season, you would grow your crops, you would harvest those crops, and then you would, after the harvest, then you're pretty much done for several weeks until the ground thaws and you get to do it all over again. You start over. And that's your downtime. That's the time that you get to actually, have time off and maybe go fishing for a weekend or something like that. But and even if you were, even if you worked in a factory, you worked your shift, you came home, maybe you had some time off to enjoy your life. But I think that it's a modern problem, but I'm not really sure that we have the right that we've really hit on the right solution. And I don't think the same solution works for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we're having such a hard time really defining what this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to use a, and again, I hate to keep talking. Feel free to jump in anywhere. But when my wife and I were, all right, so my son gets to be about 6 and maybe 5. And it's at the point now where I'm like, hey, I have to take over. I have to start training a young man. He can't, you can't. I told my wife, I'm like, you're too easy on him. He exploits everything. He knows exactly how to get anything he wants from you. I have to take over. At the same time, I was winding down my business. She had gone back to school. She got an MBA, and was starting a new career. And because of the way that kind of worked, we were able to do that very cleanly, actually, to the point where there's always somebody with the kids that's a family person, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not dropping them off. We do actually take our youngest son to daycare now because he needs that kind of socialization. It's not okay to hit people, that kind of thing, because he doesn't have any other kids his own age to play with. Because I have a 10-year spread. I should also mention I have a 10-year spread in my kids. I have a 14-year-old, I have a 4-year-old. So
Okay.
that's excellent. It's really great. So, but we're not, we don't dump them off. The kids are turning out really good. But I wanted to be, I felt like I needed to be more involved in my son's life to make him a good young man. And at the same time, my wife had this career opportunity, and I'm like, you know what? Go do that. I will take over. I retired because it was a good time for me to do that. And that's how that kind of worked out. It's not for everyone. I don't think anybody, I think very few people can do what I did. And I didn't exactly plan for that to happen that way, but it worked out really great
Mm-hmm.
for us. But you have to be that kind of person that believes that men teach children. You froze, Samantha. Samantha. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's okay, guys. She'll be back in a moment. Okay, so that's fine. What's up, Joe Mobley? I see you out there, sir. That's okay. We'll the she says her camera is not frozen, but she was definitely frozen on our screen. There you are. You're back. All right. And you're
Sorry.
back.
Yeah,
You froze like this. It's going to be very interesting in the video. Joe's out there saying you're throwing up gang sign. He
I
said that in the
wasn't
chat.
frozen. I was like on my screen, I was totally fine. And then I could watch you say hello, and I was like, I'm right here. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It's fine.
Crazy Mama, my youngest is doing fine. He has a light touch of croup, so he gets that barking cough. You know what I mean? And so we're doing the, giving him trying hard my best to get him to drink hot water and tea and anything. We haven't found anything that he likes hot yet. He just doesn't want it. Doesn't, so but look, he'll be fine. He's just a little thing. He's got a barking call. Other than that, he screams, he yells, he runs around the house. He's a normal 4-year-old.
Yep.
So
Love it.
yeah.
I just wanted to I mean, as you were talking before, I had the
Sure.
thought, when we're struggling to find this definition of balance, because I think in part we equate to balance to equality. And I think that we can see that in a number of ways, like equal
Mm,
pay. We're all getting paid the same. We all get the same number of hours. If your husband works 10 hours a day out of the home, then your wife needs to work 10 hours a day at the home. It's like each person needs to be doing exactly the same thing, the same number of hours at the same time. And that's just not how that works. And I think kind of the balance comes across the bigger picture, because, you have times when your husband is working a lot more and you're at home a lot more with the kids, especially when they're younger, when they're really little. And then when they're in school, or, maybe your husband has a job change and maybe you need to go back to work and you're working more. Everything requires a balance, but everything starts to fall apart when you have both people that are trying to do the same things at the same time. When you have both parents that are out of the house all day long and the kids are in daycare for 10 hours a day, or
right.
it's equally not going to work well if both parents are at home all day long. So the balance comes from recognizing what your family's needs are. And if your spouse has something going on, then you pick up in the other areas where they can't because they're not at home, and vice versa. I mean, there are so many life changes that we go through. A couple of years ago, my husband, he was running a business and it kind of dissolved, I guess you could say. And so he was home a lot more and I went back to work, and then he got another job, and then I ended up losing my job. And so I was at home. So there's so many life changes, and you can't be threatened by your spouse or your partner, giving more in one area and feel like your role on the other side of that is less valuable or less important, or that someone is getting more or giving more than you, because it's about, again, what's contributing to the whole.
See, this is why I don't think the term work-life balance is accurate, right? Like
Yeah.
what you're actually talking about is
Life balance.
really what you're really talking about is you're really talking about a shared responsibility. There's no real balance there. It's not like you guys say, well, I did 4 hours, so you need to do 4 hours and all of that, right? It's hey, I can't do this. Can you work it in? Okay, you can work half of it in. Okay, I will sacrifice something else to try and make it work. And it's not trying to achieve a balance. It's just trying to achieve an equilibrium as best you can, right? Like just keeping it even and steady, right?
Right.
And I think and whatever you have to do that. And this is interesting, and and it's great, because I was going to bring up how this applies when you have two people working at the same time. Now, my wife and I only had both of us working for 5 years at the same time while we had kids, and at that she was doing a 9 to 5, and her mom her parents live with us basically. I got rid of them for about 4 years, and then they moved back in. It's a Chinese thing. I don't know. It's crazy. Anyway, so we have built it. And to some extent we have built-in babysitter. Not everybody does that. But there's only so many hours a day that you can expect older people to take care of your kids, especially since I don't approve of the way that my parents-in-law necessarily teach my kids. So there's a, there's that. So when married couples have to both work, which is really frequent today, right? Like this is a really important thing. And I looked up some statistics. I don't normally. Actually, I didn't. I had ChatGTP do it. So if it's wrong,
Okay.
blame the AI. Okay. But and basically what I was looking at is married versus unmarried.
Mm-hmm.
And because when we talk about secularists, I don't know why secularists would get married to begin with, right? Like that's just a bad deal for them. So married individuals tend to have higher household incomes. They tend to have a higher satisfaction with life, that sort of thing. And they're about 25% more than unmarried couples, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. I don't know what year Census Bureau, but that's what that says. And pardon me. The economic, obviously, married people tend to be a little bit more financially stable. Usually, not always. Married couples are less likely to experience true poverty. Not always, obviously, they're outliers. And actually, currently, there's an entire subset of our population that is at the poverty line, despite working great jobs. So that's fortunately, that's our lack of economic stability right now. And in general, married couples have less depression and, in theory, higher levels of happiness and satisfaction. The disadvantages of unmarried cohabitation, according to ChatGTP, is increased instability. Cohabitating couples are more likely to separate, affecting emotional and financial well-being, and obviously that affects the children. There's no balance there. There's no equilibrium. And when you're not married, it's harder to ask that other person to sacrifice, right? When I go to my wife and I say, "Hey, I need to be in Florida for 2 days to go do an air show or something, and I got to go meet these guys down there. I'm thinking about buying their company." When I tell my wife that, she may not like it, but we're going to work it out one way or the other. If I told a life partner that, it may not have quite the same outcome. Can we agree on that? I think we would agree on it, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a matter of, and I mean, we can expand on that, but I really think that it's a matter of always feeling like you've got one foot out the door, that you don't genuinely have a commitment to this household. I mean, you can build all of the things that you want to have and contribute and build this beautiful life. But if in the back of your mind, you know that you can always leave the second that something goes wrong, the second you're, I think we were talking off, on the phone about some of these manosphere channels and these men that talk about these women that just leave at the drop of the hat. And without that, I mean, it's hard because that piece of paper really doesn't mean as much as it used to anyway. I feel like even if you are married, people are leaving far too easily. But cohabitating, it's just not even trying to me. It's not even trying to commit to that person. It doesn't matter if you buy the house together, if you have the kids together, if you have all of your assets together, your bank accounts together, you can always just walk away. And knowing that you don't feel like this inner sense of having to sacrifice anything if you don't want to. So I definitely agree.
Yeah, I think those are actually all really, really good points. And I would just add that children know.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
all of the research suggests that children in unmarried cohabitation type households tend to perform at a lower level than children from married households, and they seem to be a little bit better adjusted. Now, obviously, they're outliers. This is just a sweeping generalization. Nobody get in their soy milk and come after me. I mean, you wouldn't, because if you're drinking soy milk, you have too much estrogen anyway. But um, yeah, don't do that. And then so that's I think that those are all really solid points about how, when you're and so Cheeks is one of those that's my our beaten Cheeks, Birdo. He's I don't know if you're aware of him. He used to be
Mm-mm.
infamous. Now he's just a, I don't know, disreputable. Just disreputable.
Okay.
And no, he's a good guy. And basically he is determined to not get married because he doesn't believe in the institution, blah blah blah. Although I believe that he would, we have talked, and at some point we're going to, he's going to come to God and be married in a church like a proper human. But until then, he is our resident DGen Coomer, and we try very hard with Cheeks.
Yeah.
You are a Coomer. Are you aware of the Coomer?
No,
phraseology?
I honestly don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so a degen is a degenerate.
Okay.
A Coomer is a person who all they think about all day is finishing sexually,
Ah,
Coomer. And so
it's all about knowing the important things.
right, it is.
Awesome.
And so he's our resident Coomer. He
Awesome.
thinks of nothing. Uh, he thinks of nothing else that I'm aware of, and I'm kidding. He's actually a really good guy. We talk all kinds of we talk all kinds of really good stuff. He's a businessman. I don't know, and he's but he is a degenerate. He needs to get his life together. He's not really my project. He's a group project. It takes a village. It might take two in his case.
Yeah, it's all good. We all know people like that. And I
Yes.
mean, it's interesting. It's so funny that, and maybe this is just a random thought that you felt the need to throw in there, but like, no, he's a good guy. And, because I've been kind of watching the comments a little bit, and I see this with a lot of men these days as well, is, they're really turned off from getting married at all. They don't want to get married. A lot of men are just leaving the dating scene and choosing to stay single forever. And I don't blame you if,
So I don't think that's a new phenomenon. I think it's a new phenomenon that people are connecting with that theme.
It might be. I think it's just on the
'Cause
level that we're seeing it, and maybe it's just because we have more access to people's opinions and
I think that's what it is.
sharing what they're doing with their lives online. But I do think that it's more than it's ever been, and I can't say that I really blame men.
Cheeks, please don't spurg out in the chat. Calm down. It's okay. She doesn't. She's married. You're not. Just calm down. Calm down. Michelle is out in chat. Michelle is our second resident DGen. She is in a polyamorous relationship.
Awesome. Okay.
So I have all look. It's I judge. I just don't judge out loud often.
Right.
But everyone is welcome here. So.
Absolutely. Welcome, Michelle.
And Michelle's actually a really, really good person. She just just a bit of a degenerate. It's okay.
So,
I
and
tell her all the time. I'm blunt with her. I tell her she's going to go to hell. She knows that. She does it anyway. It's okay.
you know, it's warm there, I hear. Um,
She literally says that like.
She's like, I'm fine, it's fine. But it's interesting how we always feel like we need to throw out there, but they are a good person. And it's
Mhm.
like, I don't want to feel like I have to throw that out there, like a disclaimer of like, but I still think you're a good person. It's like, maybe it's just a nod to how things are in society. We constantly have to remind people, like, just because you live your life in a different way than I do, and I might even completely disagree with the way that you live your life, and maybe Michelle completely disagrees with the way that I live my life, but it's like, I still think you're a good person. That doesn't mean, I disagree, therefore, like, I hate you. So it's just funny how we feel the need to like throw those disclaimers out there. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I feel like I shouldn't have to
Well,
constantly tell people like, but by the way, I don't hate your guts. Like, I don't want you
I
to die.
have to say it. I actually have to say, hey, Cheeks is a good guy, because I throw him under the bus so hard
Ah,
that if you just went by what I told you, you would think, wow, I never want to talk to that guy. But he is a real. He's actually a really good guy. I mean, he has morals, he has values. He's a little messed up in his head when it comes to women and family and all. He wants a big family. He doesn't want a wife. He wants 6 kids. He doesn't want to be married in the eyes of the government because of all of the things that entails. Where because unfortunately, he's planning ahead for divorce, and it's a it's just it's unfortunate. It is what it is.
mhm.
Um, And I know that you see nothing wrong with that, Cheeks. I get it. I understand. But um the again, this is just how this all works.
Mhm. Absolutely. Can I read a comment
Mr. Boulay and the Department of
because
Numismatics
I can see the
donated
chat over here and I'm
$20.
just
Well,
kind
you,
of
you
watching
can't
the
hear it,
chat.
but there's a
This
super
super
chat
chat
coming
is
through.
sponsored by Tactical Soap Agrondike Soap Company. Try our new scent essence of Michelle. The ingredients list for this soap doesn't matter.
I'm just
Why?
scrolling through. There was just one that caught my attention before that. Sorry, it's not a super chat. It just says, how can they be a good person when they know they're doing something bad? We're all doing
Did that
something.
not play all the way through? Do I need to re-trigger that, guys?
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, you won't.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to have it open in YouTube to hear it.
Okay.
Which I don't. I hear it on my screen because it comes through. Um, did Mr. Boulay? Do I need to re-trigger that, guys? Somebody help me. Oh, it cut out halfway. All right, let me re-trigger it. Can I re-trigger it? I can. I have to open another thing here. I'm sorry. Continue on and read whatever you would like to read while I get this ready.
No, I didn't want to. I know the super chats are the top priority, so let me know when you're ready to trigger it.
Yeah. Go ahead and read whatever it is you want to read. It'll
Okay.
take me a minute. Yeah.
Okay. No, Twizzard up at a little further back said, how can they be good? How can they be a good person when they know they're doing something bad? I think a lot of good people do bad things. We all do bad things. We all make mistakes. We all do things intentionally sometimes that we know are not the best things. So I just think as a general rule, like making a bad choice or living your life in a way that I don't agree with, that doesn't
Mhm.
make you a bad person. I mean, there's just a lot of good people doing good things out there that are making choices that biblically looking at, I can probably tell you, in my view, are wrong, but I can still acknowledge that someone is a great person. And I hope that I'm trying to be a good person, but I hate to break it to you guys, I do a lot of things I probably shouldn't do. So, yeah.
All right,
So,
I'm going to go ahead and re-trigger this. Then I have
Mhm.
another one coming in from K2.
Okay.
Did that re-trigger? We'll give it a second. Pardon me. Well, it's bugged. It's bugged, boys. They'll all come through at one time. Watch. There it is. I don't know if you can see it on your screen.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Boulay and the Department of Numismatics donated $20 super chat. This super chat is sponsored by Tactical Soap Grondike Soap Company. Try our new scent essence of Michelle. The ingredients list for this soap doesn't matter. Why?
I don't know why it cuts off at because Grid already disapproves. Try Tactical Soap today. I don't know why it does that. It just doesn't want to read that part. It's probably the exclamation point, or pardon me, the question mark. All right. Sorry, gentlemen. I apologize for that. All right, let's get this up here. Read this really quick, and then we'll move on, guys. All right, there we go. Would you like to read that?
Me?
Yes.
All right. $10 to keep on trucking. I got told I was for my career that I picked when it's a really good career, because the hours by women, there's no point to try to date. They're too picky and they can't sacrifice Teamster for Trump.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. I got told I was shit, probably.
Yep.
I think that's for my career that
For
I
my
picked
career.
because it is I get it. I get it. Yeah. Okay. I get that. Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a lot of really good careers out there that kind of get, I don't know what really the right word is. Kind of poo-pooed because of the hours. How I actually I had a girl break up with me when I used to load when I was in college. I loaded tires into trailers for Bridgestone, and I would come home smelling like tire rubber, whatever assembly stuff, that mold release, and whatever it was they put on those tires. I smelled like that until I took a shower, and she actually broke up with me because she's like, you always smell really funny when you come home, and I just don't like it. And I'm like, really? That's a really stupid reason to break up with somebody.
That was a deal breaker, I guess.
I think there were other problems there, but what do I know? So yeah. All right, let me just run through chat really quick and see if there's anything interesting. Since I have not been. Angry Casper, I see you out there. I see you out there. Hey guys, we're gonna do chatter. We're gonna bring. I'll start bringing people up at probably 10:30, 10:45, something like that. Or pardon me, 9:30, 9:45, something like that. We're moving along through this topic pretty quick. I thought it was going to take longer, but we're just rolling right through it. Ghost 1978, does Samantha debate? Are you a debater?
I haven't really. I kind of guess I'm not a professional debater. I have never done a debate. If somebody wanted to do a debate, I think that would be, actually, I take that back. I don't know if it was a debate. During my campaign, we had to debate our opponent, but I wouldn't really call it a debate. We kind of just had a couple minutes to answer questions by the moderator. So, but we couldn't like respond to each other directly. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
It is actually interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. And I actually think about that conversation, and there's so many things I wish I would have said to this woman, but have I debated? Not in other than yelling at people on Twitter? No. Would I?
Ah.
Probably. It depends on the topic, but I do think it would be really interesting. My husband keeps telling me I'd be really good at it, so I'd be open to it.
Are you aware of who Andrew Wilson is?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he's just launched a debate university
Oh,
for online debaters. It's hang on one second. Angry Casper, do me a favor, put all your thoughts into a post or two. All I've got is a wall of Angry Casper. I know
Aw.
you're spurging out. It's okay. You're okay. But
Does somebody need a hug?
Angry Casper is actually a really cool dude. He has some really good takes on things, but he's
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
black-pilled to the core.
Okay.
So
I will take your word for it, because Angry Casper, you're not showing your you're not shedding the best light
he
tonight.
definitely needs a hug.
Not a great first
Well,
impression, my
unfortunately,
friend.
he's in New Zealand, so
Oh,
he's
okay.
Casper. Are you Serbian or Croatian? He's a Central European living in New Zealand. He's got to be angry. Got to be.
Did I trigger something, Casper?
No. You're fine. He just it's his way of communicating. He's Gru.
Awesome.
Yeah, he sounds like Gru. He really does. He's got a great voice. Anyway, so Andrew Wilson's launched Debate University. It's an
Okay.
online debate program where people like yourself who might want to be able to debate better
Mhm.
online or have better discussions online, or just have more confidence in doing it. You pay the money, you take the courses. I think it's like 80 hours of material or something. So it's like
Wow.
a college course,
Yep.
and it's really good. Andrew is the best debater. He's one of the better debaters on the internet. Period.
Yeah. No, that would
Now,
definitely be
Rob Norris. I told you that was going to trigger like 3 times. That's
Mr. Bulle donated $20. Tactical
okay.
Soap
He'll
at
get his
Take Two.
$20 worth.
This super chat is sponsored by Tactical Soap, a Grondike
You
soap
think Horn
company.
and Shapiro are better?
Try our new
I don't think
scent
so.
essence of
Trey Horn is
Michelle.
close, but
The ingredients
Shapiro
list for
is
this
not.
soap doesn't matter. Why?
You
Because
don't think he's
Although
He's
Shapiro did hand Destiny his ass. So, are you aware of who Destiny is?
Yes, I do know who Destiny is.
Yeah.
And I actually really like Trent Horn. I like Ben Shapiro, but yeah, as far as like debate skills.
So, and this is not taking a shot at Destiny. This is just the truth of the matter. Destiny, he's on drugs or something. He's on a downward spiral. He says
Aw.
things that are weird. Ever since his divorce, and it's just really bad. It's just really bad. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, Destiny's on a serious downward spiral. He's not. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he bodied Dave Smith like it wasn't anything. It was just like it was hilarious. Dave Smith. I asked Dave Smith one question, and all he could do is make fun of me. He didn't even answer the question. Like it was so bad. He was so pissed that I
Mhm.
wait. So I don't know. I don't know what that. It was very funny to see a comedian who's used to being heckled lose his cool like that. It
Yeah.
was very fun. It was very funny, and I actually have a clip of it that I play every now and again when I need to laugh.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the topic. We've had a nice, and I had a nice little intermission here. What do you think about the idea of this constant stream of recreation that people are involved in, like more than ever we have? that.
What do you mean recreation?
All right. So your average suburbanite family, their entire week consists of the kids go to school, the kids go to some sort of sports practice. They have sports games on the weekends. They then go canoeing, kayaking, hiking, fishing, golfing, tennis. It's a never-ending stream of recreation.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little like downtime.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little in reflection time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just when I was a kid, one of my favorite things was just to sit. I actually used to climb a tree and sit in the tree and read a book and just think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anybody that does that now. Anybody. Now, it can be argued that if you're playing video games, technically you could kind of be doing that, but I doubt that. Also, Shazzy Bear, Destiny is his stripper name. That's his stripper name. Plus, since he's admitted to liking an occasional hard throbbing cock, he's come on. I mean, what kind of man says that? Right? Come on. Oh, I know you guys are going to go to verbal combat. I know you are. I'm not playing verbal combat. I'm going to bed. So I'm sorry. I saw Shazzy say that, and I had to remind her that that's his stripper name.
No, that's totally fine. It's actually interesting that you bring that up, because I noticed today, as I was driving my kids to school this morning, driving down the street, and this happened more than once, I see this woman walking her 2 dogs, cutest little dogs, walking down the street. It's a beautiful morning. I mean, I live in Texas, so we're finally like, you can go out in the morning and it's not 120 degrees outside. And so it's perfect. It's just beautiful. And she's walking her dogs and she's staring at her phone while she's walking. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, just put your phone down, enjoy the morning, enjoy the fresh air, enjoy the scenery. We're going down the street again, and I see somebody else walking their dog, looking at their phone. And I'm like, what is going on? And the same thing when I picked my kids up from school, walking back, I saw somebody else. Like, I was like, what is happening? And I don't know why. I'm sure that this is not a new thing, but I just happened to notice it today. And my kids actually are the ones that pointed it out when we were driving back from school. Like, I saw her, but my kids were like, why is she looking at her phone? She's walking her dog. And I was like, thank you. I'm doing something right. But I was like, exactly. So we kind of got into a conversation about it. And I'm like, you need to have downtime. You need to have time when you're not looking at your phone, when you're not listening to something, reading something, when your mind isn't engaged in something. And I think some of the time that I don't know if treasure the most, if treasure is the right word, but, I mentioned that I do these weddings. I've been doing this for a long time. And sometimes I'm in the car driving to a wedding for an hour and a half, driving home. And especially as I'm driving home that hour and a half, there are times I don't turn the radio on. I don't turn anything on my phone. I just put my hands on the wheel and I just drive. And the silence is a beautiful thing. It's so nice. And I notice when I've had too much going on for too long of a period of time, when I've had, if I've been listening to my phone too much, or I've been reading, or I've been scrolling Twitter or scrolling TikTok, and I notice like my mental health, like I start to feel really just edgy and grumpy, and you step away from that stuff and you just enjoy what's around you. You're just present, and it just changes things so drastically. So I think, people put too much value in like looking externally to find joy, to find peace, and they're looking in the wrong direction. It's like, just turn around and just be where you are and enjoy the moment and turn everything off, and you're going to find exactly what you're looking for.
Okay. All right. No, that's right. I like it. I like everything about it. I'm going to read this really quickly and I'm going to touch on it. Shazzy Bears sends in £5. Enjoy the rest of your stream, Grid One. Excellent content. I'll watch the replay. And she gave me crowns. I appreciate that. Thank you for the £5. I know it means a lot to you, so I appreciate it. And have a great evening over there at Verbal Combat. I think maybe that's why they were asking if you debate, because they were trying to lure you over to Verbal Combat after this.
Awesome. Maybe another time, guys.
Yeah. Well, it runs late. Like I don't get involved too much because at any rate, so I 1 year my son, I noticed that he was on his iPad just so much and he was like sneaking it and all of this kind of thing. So because he did not get the grades that I expected him to, I banned him from all electronic devices for the entire summer. And that included the TV if myself or his mom were not watching it. So he could watch whatever I was watching. He could watch whatever my wife would watch. He wasn't allowed to have TV, no computer, no internet of any kind. I took his phone away. All of it, like 0 electronic devices. It was the happiest he'd been in a long time. Like he didn't miss any of it after about the first week.
Yep.
And he didn't miss playing video games. He didn't miss any of that. He would go outside. He would play. He rode his bike. He did all the things a kid's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And so I think, honestly, there ought to be a way as a parent where you can just click a button and when school, from the time school lets out to the time school starts, they don't have electronic devices.
Well, it's called the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, I do that. So, and as a matter of fact, his Wi-Fi will shut off in 13 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that honestly goes back to the proverb that you shared initially, train up your child in the way that they should go. It's a way to teach our kids balance, to have balance in the things that they're doing and not to dedicate all of their time to their electronics, and to recognize that, recognize when they've spent too much time doing one thing and have that regulation, that self-awareness to put it down and go do something else, to recognize the value in setting that aside and being like, okay, I have to spend my time doing something else. I need to develop another skill. I need to work on another project. I need to, spend some time with my family or my siblings or my friends. So I think that turning off the Wi-Fi or having those limits, you're teaching your kids to have balance in those things. Because it's not saying, just like we're not saying working is bad, having a device isn't a bad thing. It's just learning how to manage it so it doesn't take over in other aspects of your life and your soul and your spirit, all of these things, that none of those other things suffer.
Yeah. I also think that, and this is outside the scope of the discussion this evening, but I never encouraged my son to play any of the contemporary sports. And part of that's just because I didn't really want to, but I ended up I kind of went down a rabbit hole with the injuries that young people get playing intramural sports.
Yeah.
And we're talking concussions, broken legs, knees torn out of joint. I mean, some of them are life altering. I can't imagine a 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid with a life-altering knee injury. Can you imagine? I mean, that's just stupid. Why would you do that? So I never encouraged him any of that, and so he never really pursued those. So he shoots skeet on the school shooting team, and he has expressed interest in the golf team. And those two, hey, we'll back him if he wanted. And he actually had an interest in baseball last year, and then he kind of was like, you know what, I don't really like that. And I was like, okay, you don't have to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
football, soccer, basketball, he tried them. He didn't really like them, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to push you into it, mainly because of the high potential for life altering injuries at a young age. And I think I think it's insane the pressures that are put on young athletes now.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely insane. And if we want to talk about work life balance, this is what throws your life out of balance: is having to make all of those practices, all of those special sessions, all of the games, and all of that. That is crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I can't imagine. I played basketball. I played basketball for my school. Played basketball for my church league, and then I did mostly shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm a little different that way. But yeah, I don't believe it creates better kids. I don't believe that it creates better team players. I don't believe any of that garbage. I think that what it does is it really has potential for life altering injuries. I don't now look, hey, if that's your thing, it's fine. But I'm
No,
not going to. I'm not
I
gonna push my kid into it.
I tried to get my kids to play sports.
Yeah.
They're just not athletic. I
Mm.
had I mean, my middle son, and just, little brief story, I think we tried soccer for like one season, and the first couple of practices he was out there, I would just watch him, and I'm like, why is he running like that? So, my kids just don't have the athletic ability. So I personally have just wanted them to play a sport or do something like that to be active. I don't have, big dreams of them being on, like, the being in the NFL, or, playing basketball or doing any of those things. Like, I don't that was never my goal. I was just like, I just want you to get out, to be active, to play on team sport. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I just to kind of push back a little bit on the life altering consequences of potentially playing a sport. I think that we're seeing the life altering consequences of kids being isolated and kids not getting out and doing these things. So, I mean, I can see the argument. I never wanted my kids to play football ever. We moved to
Yeah.
Texas, and they spend an astronomical, like, ungodly amount on their
Yes.
football stadium. But I'm like, we're moving to the wrong state.
Yeah. Right.
I never wanted that for them, but kids are isolated. They are
Mhm.
addicted to their devices. We have parents that don't want to be in the home, and that we have
Mhm.
parents that look for ways to be away from their children. Kids are just, I see
Yeah.
so many people talking about kids just being lost. Like, is there any hope for this
Sure.
next generation? So you have to think about, like, the lifelong consequences, and because everything has lifelong consequences these days, just because kids are being pushed towards things that might have a mental lifelong consequence instead of a physical
Right.
one. So
Right.
that's
So
why I'm not against sports. That wasn't in the cards for us, but I
yeah,
think
I
it's
wasn't again.
better.
If he had really, really, really wanted to play football,
Yeah.
I would have advised him not to and to pick a different sport. But he could have done it.
Yeah.
My son is in Boy Scouts, so he hikes, he backpacks, he canoes, he does all of the he's an outdoorsman. So
Hmm.
he did Krav Maga for a year or so. So I think my personal opinion is that there are far more useful things for your child to do when they're young, and you have some control over them, that will
Hmm.
teach them actual life skills over playing games, right? A martial art
Yep.
is high on the list. Like, I can't believe that parents today, it's not like mandatory. Like, it's like the second priority after school is go do a martial art of some kind.
Yeah.
Um, and then some kind of outdoor activity. Boy Scouts, Doesn't have to be that, but that's a great one. There's all kinds of different hiking clubs and biking and cycling and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
not I'm definitely not, look, no couch potato,
Yeah.
but I saw base street racer was saying something about his ACL and another injury. So I would just rather not my son not have a life altering injury or have multiple broken bones or anything like that until they're adults.
Yeah.
When you're an adult, you can do that.
Yeah.
When I've got, when it's me, no. Now I have friends of mine that play hockey. I have a buddy. As a matter of fact, one of my good friends is he plays roller hockey, and then I have another friend that plays ice hockey. So they're always talking shit to each other.
Mhm.
And but I just really, really don't like the idea of intramural. I don't like the idea of intramural sports. I don't like the money that's spent on it. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um, yeah.
No, that I mean, I definitely agree on the martial arts things. That's something my boys have always expressed interest in. It's just very expensive. So, so I'm hoping at some point we'll be able to do a little bit more with that. But I love stuff like that, something that teaches them a skill and discipline, and
Scouting is
also
great. I
self.
don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
since Cub Scouts started allowing girls into the
Yeah. Well, so ours doesn't.
good.
Yeah, ours doesn't. I'm
Yeah,
in Tennessee. We're gonna be we will be the last bastion of sanity in the free world.
yeah. Gymnastics. I see someone mentioned gymnastics in the chat. That one's interesting. And there's,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I watch gymnastic fails on YouTube, and I'm like, no, 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 no. So the
Yeah.
injuries that those gymnasts go through are unbelievable.
I mean, yeah. Again, this is the kind of thing that. So I don't know. I guess it's partly just the way that I kind of did things. Is I was a look. I did BMX. I played basketball, kind of for my school. I played basketball for my church. I did various forms of martial arts. I did all kinds of things that were individual, right? Like archery. I did when I was in military school. I did shooting. I was on a shooting team. I did a bunch of stuff. I never really wanted that. I already had enough of the team environment in military school.
Hmm.
Like I was like, I wanted I wanted something where I could excel for myself, right? And I
Yeah,
just never got into it.
yeah.
Um, and because I don't have like that the dream of greatness that now my son has to achieve for me, you know, it I don't push him in that direction. I don't even push him to go into racing. Like he didn't really care anything about go-karts or any of that, so he didn't,
Mm-mm.
I didn't push him into it. I don't believe in I guess I realistically I believe in letting kids kind of develop their own personality,
Yeah.
and basically I make sure he stays alive and I give him as much guidance as I possibly can,
Hmm.
and I do the best I can to teach him to be a good human.
Yeah.
My older one. And he is. He wears he wears suits and ties to school every day. He doesn't have to, but he does. Um, he is very polite to a fault. He is, for the most part. On the other side of that, he shoots three gun with me. He rides his bicycle. He shoots skeet on a skeet team. Will skeet, trap, and sporting clays. He does he hikes, he canoes, he does all these things outside of school.
Hmm.
So school is where he learns. Everywhere else is where he plays. I just, I don't know. Maybe I'm probably wrong. Probably wrong.
You know, your kid, and it's working for him. He's
Yeah,
turning.
no,
He's a good.
he's a great kid, honestly.
Exactly,
I
he's
give
a
him a lot
good
of credit.
person. So you must be. What you're doing is working. So
Well, we just had to have a discussion since we just totally abandoned the topic. We just had to have a discussion about how, he's 6 foot and 180 pounds at 14, and he's a man. Like I told him, I'm like, look, it's unfair that at 14 you have to be put in a situation. But if you hit someone, it's the same as a man hitting them.
hmm
And people are not going to look at you like you're a 14-year-old kid. They're just not. So don't act like one.
yeah,
I'm sorry, it sucks. Your childhood's over, but you have to start comporting yourself as a young man.
hmm
And that's it.
yeah,
And it did suck for him. It does suck for him because, I can tell he still wants to play with Legos.
yeah,
Luckily he's got a younger brother. He can do that with him, but he's awesome with his little brother. I've
Yeah.
taught him to be a very caring, well-rounded young man. I've done the best I could. So
yeah.
we'll see how well the job goes. But I don't know. It's the best I could do with what I had, and again, it was. I have to put. I apologize for my coughing, by the way. I had a chest infection, and I'm over the chest infection itself, but the coughing, it's gonna be another couple of weeks, I think. Because
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Kind of moving back towards the topic, and recreation trends. I kind of wanted to talk about that because it seems like this is one of the things I think that people think of when they think of work-life balance. But is it really? I mean, how much of your time through the week are you willing to sacrifice to cart your kids all over the world to play soccer, basketball, football, dance, dressage, if you're into horses, whatever, whatever it is, how much time are you willing to do that versus the time that you could be spending quality time you could be spending with your kid teaching them to be good humans
hmm
or making dinner with that kid, or how many times are you going to eat out in a week because you won't have time to prepare dinner and make all the practices that you need to and after school activities you have to make. We barely go to after school activities. I know the school thinks we're horrible people, but we barely go to them because he needs to get his homework done.
hmm
That means unless it's a very rare event where he goes to a school football game or he goes whatever. Now he did do photography 2 years ago, and as part of that, he was a photographer for I believe the football team. And so he had to be at the games, and it was a lot of stress on him. So
Yeah.
how do you feel? I mean, you're I don't know that you're a soccer mom, but you look like a soccer mom. So maybe I'm just kind of trying to understand what your point of view on this is.
Yeah. No, I mean, just as you were talking, I think it just goes back to perhaps the Christian view versus kind of the secular / worldly non-religious view. And it really just kind of depends on what your priorities are. I mean, for me, as someone who is religious and my family is the most important thing, that's my priority. My priority is not having the next best thing or having the nicest phone or having the newest car or making sure that my kid is doing everything that all of their friends are doing to make sure that he's not missing out on things. Like, that's not my priority. And yes, of course, those things are nice experiences to have, but that doesn't make them a good person. That's not going to teach them the values that they need to have. And when this more secular view is, we've got to keep working for stuff. We have to keep working for experiences. And if we're missing out on something, that means we need to add more work to our plate. We can't slow down. We can't take a break because somebody else is going to end up with something that we don't have. And then we'll have to explain to our kid why we don't have that thing and their friend does. So it's just constantly trying to almost like compete with the world, with everybody around you, people that don't care, honestly, at the end of the day, if you have what they have. It's just very like superficial values. And it actually just reminds me, this was a while ago, I did a video on maybe you saw this, you have boys in your home, so maybe you weren't aware of this, but there were all of these moms taking their little 10-year-old daughters to Sephora. And all of these Sephora workers, Sephora is a makeup store, very popular makeup store. I wasn't sure if you knew. I didn't want to assume. But all of these moms, it was this viral trend on TikTok. A lot of these Sephora employees were making TikTok videos of these moms bringing in their little daughters, messing up the stores, acting entitled, being snotty. And these moms were just in there to answer to their kid, essentially, to buy whatever their kid wanted. And it was entirely driven by this trend. It wasn't driven by anything other than this is what's popular on TikTok, so we have to do it so that you can be a part of the club. And they had all these videos of these girls with just shelves and shelves of expensive products. It's like, you're 10. You don't need any of this stuff, but it just goes to show what the priority is. And then when you're in that position as a parent, you're like, I have to work more. I have to add more hours to my plate. I have to get a part-time job. I have to increase our funds so that we can keep up with these things, so I can fuel whatever it is that my daughter or my kid needs to keep up with their friends. Whereas for me, I don't care. My daughter doesn't need a $50 Stanley cup. Like, she's 8. And so that's not my priority. I'm never going to add work hours to my plate to keep up with anybody else. If my family needs it, we need to increase our income to be able to pay our rent, to get our food, to pay our bills. That's something that we can do. But my priority is my family, and I need to make sure that they are okay. And having all of these things is not going to make them a good person.
No, I 100% agree. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm not up on all the TikTok stuff because I don't do TikTok. So
I don't do a ton of TikTok, but I see people create videos about the trends, and then I'm like, okay, I need to see what this is about. But TikTok gives me a headache.
Sorry. Yeah. My son has zero social media. None.
Yeah. My kids don't have it either. They've asked.
And he doesn't care, right? Like, he's like, whatever. So Mobley infected you with TikTok. That's funny.
It's true. I will say TikTok is not terrible. There's a couple of really good accounts that I follow, and this is just a total random thing. But I mean, one guy in particular just like corrects arguments about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all of these things that people put out there. And I love his content. So there are some good things on there too, but it's very easy to sit there and scroll and then realize you've wasted an hour and you feel like garbage. So you have to that's where the balance is completely thrown off.
Toxicity would, I think, be the big thing for me. Like, everything I've seen from TikTok is like horrible, like just absolutely awful.
Yeah.
While we're talking about, because you mentioned money and finances. So for the longest time, I think my son thought we were poor. Well, actually, we did. We basically behaved as if we were poor. And I thought it was really funny one day. We were driving home, and he said something. And I was like, "We're not actually poor. You know that, right?" And he's like, "Nope, I didn't know that." And I'm like, "Okay, good. You didn't need to know." And a little while later, I remember, and I've told the story before, so my chat will know, but um, he went to summer camp at this private school every year before he could actually go there. He went to one private school, but he would go to summer camp at another private school because it was only 6th through um, 12th grade, and he was in like 3rd grade, so he couldn't go there.
Mm-hmm.
And but he loved it. He loved the school. He loved the camp. And he loved everything about it. It's in this little town that's literally it is about 7 buildings and then houses. Like there's like a couple of antique stores, an ice cream shop, a restaurant, a gas station. That's about it. And at the end of the week of the camp, the kids on Friday, they get to walk down to this little country store and buy an ice cream or a moon pie and an RC cola or whatever, and have handmade ice cream and handmade fried pies and all kinds of stuff that kids love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first week he went, he never told me that he needed money for that. I didn't know. So I noticed he had some change after school, and I'm like, where'd you get money? And he's like, oh, Grandpa gave me $5 this morning. I'm like, why did you need $5? And he said, well, I needed it for the field trip today, the walking trip. Oh, okay. I said, well, okay, well, next week on Friday, and he told me the whole thing about Friday. And I'm like, okay, next Friday, don't you ask Grandpa for the money. Grandpa's not to give you any money unless Mom and I say it's okay. And so don't ask him, ask me. But you have to remember to ask me. I'm not going to come to you. So next Friday comes, we're in the car, I'm driving him to where he's going to meet the bus to go to camp for the day. And I'm like, we're half a mile from the house or so before I look over and I say, hey, do you remember do you forget something? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, okay. Did you need any money for your hiking trip today? You going to the store? And he's like, I got it taken care of. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And he pulls out 3 ones and $3 in quarters. And I'm like, did Grandpa give you that? And he's like, nope, this is my money. I saved this. And it's like a proud dad moment, right? Like, not only did he not ask Grandpa, but he went into the money he squirreled away and took it out rather than ask me for money. Right? And I was like, that's awesome, man. And he understands the value of money, 100%.
I love that.
My wife asked him, because he's been talking about going into the military instead of college. We're like, why? My wife asked him, why do you keep talking about that? And he's like, well, I don't want to be a burden to you to pay for my school. If I go into the military, they pay for my school. You don't hear 14-year-old kids talk like that. So it's really an interesting dynamic because I hear his friends talking and they don't talk like he does. I think it confuses him sometimes, but he's a good kid. He really is. But I think if you teach your kids about all of the things that people don't want to teach your kids about, money, responsibility, life, the fact that you need a plan and all of that, good things happen down the road. And you end up with a good kid, and so it's not society's problem that your kid sucks. It's not your work-life balance.
It becomes society's problem.
It becomes their problem, right? Your kid becomes my problem, right? Because he's an idiot. My kid now has to deal with your idiot kid, right? So this is a problem that we have. This is why I care. But this is this idea of work-life balance of where I think that we're just really screwed up on a lot of this stuff because you do have families that give their kid everything. They will sacrifice everything to get the kid the newest, greatest elbow pads or whatever, shoulder pads or whatever for football. They sacrifice so much so the kid can play what is that sport? lacrosse or soccer or whatever, and then their kid isn't learning the things they really need to learn, which is money,
Mm-hmm.
how to invest money. My kid goes with me when we go collect. If when I go to the rental properties to check on them or to do work on them or anything like that, or get them ready to rent again, I take him with me so he can understand, hey, this is how business is done. And I think that I think that this idea of work-life balance needs a lot of tweaking,
Mm-hmm.
because this is balance to me,
Right.
right? I'm sorry, I talked a lot there. I'm going to let you
No, you
chime in. I
don't
kind of
apologize.
said a lot of stuff, so go
No, and
ahead.
I'm listening to you and kind of reading the chat because it's just kind of funny to watch.
Oh,
But
my chat is the greatest chat ever. It's so good. It's really good.
it's just
Um,
fun to watch. But I'm trying not to get distracted. No, I'm listening, but um yeah, I mean, when it came to, I mean, as I said, I'm a business owner and I've been doing what I've been doing for 14 years. And it gave me the opportunity to be at home with my kids. And it brought in enough income to kind of fill in the gaps, if just for me to contribute financially to my family. Would my family have been better off had I been working full time financially? Yes. Um, I could have I could have stayed working full time. I could have moved up the corporate ladder. I could have, had all of these career goals and whatever else. But when it came to what my kids needed, that's not what they needed from me.
yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and, those are lessons you can't go back and teach them. You only get one shot to
Mhm.
do that. You can't get those early ages between, being a baby and being 12, 13 years old when they really start to get more of that independence and they get more influenced by their friends. You don't get that time back. So it was always my husband and I, we lived in a 3-bedroom, no, what was it? A 2-bedroom townhome for 8 years. And it was less than 1,100 square feet, but the mortgage was really low. And we stayed there for a long time until after my daughter was born, and she's our third child. So there was 5 of us living in this townhome that was less than 1,100 square feet, but I was home with them. And now that they're getting a little, my oldest is 13, he's almost 14. My middle one's 11. My daughter is 8, almost 9. And I look back at that time and I would not trade it. I would not,
Yeah,
have that extra money. I wouldn't trade it for that extra vacation or that nicer car or, that whatever it is. I wouldn't, there's no way I would trade any of that. And I think it's just a matter of society's priorities. It's just gotten so screwed up. And again, it comes back to also feeling like if my husband's working 10 hours, I have to work 10 hours. I mean, when you listen to the way people talk about marriage and family these days, it is horrendous. It is so mind-boggling to me how little people think of probably the most important institution in our country. This is the thing that creates a strong society, that fuels, that sets every other institution up to succeed. And we've let it absolutely fail. And people refuse to look
absolutely.
inward. They refuse to look inward and say, I need to make sacrifices. I need to give things up. We just bought my car. It was a decently nice car. It was a 2014 Durango. My husband was driving it and somebody slammed into the back of it. So it was totaled. We got it paid off, whatever. And we just purchased like this 2002 Mazda Protege. And that's what we've been driving around for the last couple of months. And,
Sure.
It's put our financial situation, we're in a better financial situation because we're able to drop that payment.
Mhm.
But it's just about making sacrifices and not looking at all of these other things as the most important thing because you're missing out on the most important things. So, but
Yeah, absolutely.
but it's also not to say that, I mean, working is a good thing. We are meant to work. God wants us to
Mhm.
work. We are
Yeah,
supposed to be productive. We're supposed to learn. We're supposed to grow. We are supposed to, reach our potential. Like working is a good thing. but it's a means to the most important thing, which is our family.
I'm going to go in on that in a second, but Will has a question here. At Outspoken, be honest on this. Family or politics, when did you feel the best?
Family or politics, when do I feel the best?
When did you feel the best? I'm assuming that he's saying when. I'm actually not. If you could clarify that, Will, help me out here, buddy. Help me out. I'm going to hide it though right now.
Okay, yeah, just a little more clarification, Will. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure what you mean by your question, but I'm happy to answer it.
I do want to address a couple of things you said, and that is that we're meant to. Well, first of all, for a long time, I myself, even though I'm a car guy, and I owned a race team. I had all kinds of stuff at one point in time. I still do to some degree, but I drove a GMC Envoy that I bought for like $1,300 cash from somebody for a long time, and then it was actually kind of a thing with me where I just had we just had cheap cars, and we in fairness, we did have a Cayenne that my wife drove, but I didn't need anything fancy. I didn't care, whatever, and then one day I remember I was driving with my wife, and she just looked over at me. She said, "I'm tired of acting like we're poor. So let's sell all the cheap cars you have. Just get rid of them. Whatever. Just get whatever you can out of them." And then we bought some newer cars, but I have a 5-year rule on cars because I just have a mental block on that. And of course, we pay cash for everything, and I'm in a little bit different situation, I think, than you are. So I have a different perspective on a lot of this. I mean, I was able to retire when I was 45, and we pay a very large amount in income tax every year. And so so that's a little different. But I believe that most people should kind of live as cheaply as they possibly can until they really have it figured out, right? Like they really should live as cheaply as they can. I find it disturbing, actually, that people who are starting out go at $400,000 into debt on a McMansion, with 3 or 4 bedroom or whatever, when what they really need is a 2-bedroom townhouse or 3-bedroom townhouse that is $100,000 or whatever. Depending on where you're at. I actually bought a townhouse in Denver actually once for like $35,000, and then it sold. I sold it like 2 years later for $90,000. It was a good deal for me, but it put a lot of work into it, to be honest with you. But you just have to. It's just so terrible that people don't understand money, and so they make very poor choices regarding money. Did we ever get clarification from Will?
I was scrolling back through here. I
I want to do Will right on this, but
right. What made you feel more satisfied? What did you enjoy more? And be honest, politics or children or family? Family by far.
Family by far.
I mean,
Politics suck.
and Will, I'm just curious about your question. I mean, why you would think that would even be a competition? Why that would even be a question? I mean, I've had a lot of experiences. I'm the kind of person that my husband's kind of gotten used to it. I'll just come home one day and be like, okay, we're doing this new thing. And, I'm running for office today, or I'm doing whatever. And he's like, okay, great. So, I'm excited about new experiences. I'm not afraid of challenges, and I really enjoyed running for office. It was a really great experience in a lot of ways. But there's nothing as fulfilling to me as having a family. Like family, fills all the boxes in, whereas like politics is like just one little box, and work is just one little box. And going on a trip is just one little box. It's like family is a part of all of that. So, I love my family. I don't know if you're like getting that vibe, but they're amazing people. So they're the most important thing to me. So I don't know if that answers your question, Will, but that's where I'm at.
All right. Yeah. All right. I'm good, guys. Mods. Let's get if callers, if you want to come on, call in, whatever you want to look at it. You're welcome to reach out to the mods. It's the same process as every week or every day for me because I stream a lot. Just go ahead, reach out, get the link, come up, and we'll take you guys. Glenn Lawrence, if you're within earshot, you can come on and pop back into the back end, and we'll because I feel like this has been a really good discussion, and I don't really want to run late tonight, and we're going to run late if we don't start taking callers because callers can take a minute. People can get long-winded.
I'm excited.
Yeah. All right.
Where's Casper?
Angry Casper, are you still there? I actually really I originally didn't think I was going to like Angry Casper, and then I've been on panel with him a few times, and he's really an intelligent human. He's a little taciturn, which is a word people don't use anymore. What's a real man? I don't, you know what? I don't know what a real man is. I've been trying to be one my whole life. I'm not sure I've made it yet. So, it's interesting because I say a lot of times that I'm not a nice person. It takes every ounce of willpower every day to be a nice human being. My first response is always violence. My first response is always is the nuclear option. And so it's really interesting. Everyone thinks of me as this like really calm, chummy, lovable person, but that's absolutely wrong. And I have to remind people all the time that that's just how it is. Glenn, you need 5 minutes. Okay. Do we have somebody else that would like to come up and ask a 5-minute question of myself or Outspoken Samantha? You are welcome to do so. Casper has the biggest, blackest heart. Could be. Could be it.
He is well known in this chat, apparently.
He will literally ask to be timed out because he's spurging so bad.
Well, and I don't want to talk about Casper without him being here to defend himself.
He's probably there.
He doesn't like that he can't respond.
How has illegal immigration affected where you are in Texas?
We're just outside of Fort Worth. Okay. I haven't heard anything too crazy. Of course, living closer to the border than most people is a little unnerving sometimes. I'm actually surprised that it hasn't been a bigger issue where I'm at. But it really hasn't affected my community yet. I'm well aware that it will at some point, especially if a certain non-white woman gets into the White House. But I really am surprised that it hasn't been a big issue where I am. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, of course, we hear all of the things going on with the border towns. I don't think it wasn't El Paso. Was it El Paso? I don't know. There was, of course, one town that was just being completely overrun that got ignored for a long time. And then Biden went down there to visit and they cleaned up the streets just to pretend that it was not an issue. And then he left and it all fell apart again. But so, I mean, yeah, of course, we hear all the things going on at the border of people having illegal immigrants die on their property and finding, bodies of illegal immigrants that have just made their way there and just passed out or whatever. I mean, there's horrors going on for sure. It just hasn't made its way. I'm probably I don't know, at least 6 or 7 hours from the border. So,
I had a friend of mine in Colorado that joined the border patrol, and he actually he was a he was an agent in Yuma, Arizona, and he said it was the craziest thing ever. Welcome, Mister, to the stage. By the way, guys, I'm only going to have
Hey, what's going
one
on?
or two people up besides um, Samantha and I. So
Yeah, I'll drop down in a minute.
sure, man.
I was just
It
curious.
wasn't necessarily just for
Um,
you. I just want to make sure I said that because I forget
no,
to
I hear.
mention that sometimes.
Um, what are your opinion regarding the political landscape as far as you know, children are involved and the growth towards like secular, um, you know, the way that they're promoting this kind of stuff in you know in future generations currently. You know what I'm saying? Like we've moved away from religion,
hmm
you know, and that kind of thing. I was just curious what your opinion on that is, because you know, it's almost like being a Christian in the public sphere is like a scarlet letter these days, you know.
Mm.
right.
So, and if your kids are like, uh, you know, I don't want to get anecdotal, but you know, I put my kids in the public school at a great cost because I don't want them to, you know, get in that sphere where,
hmm
you know, the public domain seems to be um, you know, promoting these wacky things that, you know, they shouldn't be doing. Like it has nothing to do with school or uh I don't know. I'm trying to be subtle about it because I don't want to, you know, spurg out like Casper. So
Do you want to take it or am I?
You were the near politician.
They
I talk to
almost
Mister
got me.
Mister a lot actually. He and I share very similar views.
Okay. Um, what is my opinion as far as what kids should be learning? Like, what they should be exposed to? I mean, I can go a number of different directions with this. Um, First of all, as far as the classroom, politics don't belong in the classroom. They don't belong in the school system. If I send my kid over to, their friend's house to play, their parent does not, have the right to teach my kid anything politically. I mean, I'm not saying they can't express an opinion or a view, but as far as like imposing those views on others, they don't have the right to do that, in my opinion. As
right.
far as, go ahead.
No, no,
Uh,
I'm not.
He
okay, I
was
thought someone said
disagreeing with
something.
you.
Okay. But I also think to a point we can't not involve our kids in these things because politics is everywhere. Like it is everywhere. You can't watch a cartoon without having like some kind of political messaging. And kids are not stupid. Like, there are times when I sit down with my kids and I don't talk about politics with them. Sometimes we kind of have conversations about what's going on in the world. Definitely try to keep it age appropriate, but I don't want to overwhelm them or make this like the focus of their childhood. They're still kids, but they
Mm.
know what's going on. Like they're not stupid. There are times I'll bring up something and they've heard about it. They know what it is. They've heard about it from their friends. They've been exposed to it in some way. So we can't pretend that they don't know what's going on. And if we don't have those conversations and if we're not talking to them about it, somebody else is. They're getting information from somebody
That's
else
true.
and they will be influenced in some way. So either we do the influencing or somebody else does.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah,
true. I've actually had some experience with this where we actually changed schools. Actually, I changed daycares because the daycare which was very convenient to our house, or preschool, I guess you would call it, they were woke. I mean, they did rainbow. They celebrated Pride Month. They celebrated Black History Month. They did all of these things. I'm like, these are kids. They should know anything about this.
Yeah.
And I kind of voiced my concern and was told that, hey, this is the policy, and it wasn't. I actually looked it up. Wasn't their policy. It was the manager or whatever that was in charge of that particular facility. It was their bend. And you know what? I didn't start a fight. I didn't sue anybody. I wasn't a jerk about it. I just moved my kid to a different preschool, and he's better off for it. Now we do actually have we're getting into a little bit of a problem there because one of the teachers for some reason is calling my son Alex Allie, and I don't like that. I do not. I don't see any reason for that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty. I hate to be the overprotective parent, but at this point, look, my 14-year-old, he knows what he's doing. My 4-year-old doesn't. So that's how there are levels to the nuclear threat.
Yeah.
So
No, absolutely.
I don't know if that answered your question, Mister.
Yeah, I just have one more thing, and then I'm going to drop
Yeah,
down
man.
because
Go
I
ahead.
want
Well,
to.
Glenn's a fine. He's probably not
But
even actually there.
I said this on someone else's stream too, and it's like, well, I'm noticing more and more parents, they kind of have this attitude where they just do, and they tell them like, no, you're going to do it, and this is the way it is. And I'm like, well, I think things have changed in the sense that now, because you have so many bad actors telling them the opposing side of what you're trying to teach them, that when you make a decision and it affects them, I'm like me, I have to sit there and explain to them why I did it. It's not necessarily meaning I'm going to say, oh, that person's wrong. However, I'm going to be like, no, this is why I made that decision. So that way they're like, oh, okay, because what I found is that, even with multiple family members, they might have opposing views as you. And so here you come in and you're like, well, no, that's not necessarily the right way, but I'm not going to say it like that. Like, I got to explain it to a child in a way that they understand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for having me up. I'm going to drop down.
All right, man. Have a good trip wherever you're driving tonight.
Oh, Jesus. It's nuts. The
Are you
weather's
driving?
crazy. Yeah, well, I stopped for a second, but I'm heading home now, so I'm gonna have the little ones jump on my
In the
back all
Northeast?
night.
Are
Yeah,
you in the Northeast tonight? Okay. Well, be
yeah.
careful, man.
All right, thanks. All right, bye-bye.
All right, Glenn, are you there? He's not there. He'll be there in a minute.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, okay, there he is.
Yeah.
I've been here this whole time. Why you gotta yell at me like that? Am I too close to the mic? Am I too hot? Am I coming in too hot?
No,
It's great.
Good. Because I wasn't.
Hey,
close enough.
Glenn, you want
Yes.
to throw me the Debate University ad, and we'll play it for Outspoken Samantha.
Oh yeah. You want me to send you that?
Yeah, send me that.
All right. Mine, the one that I did.
It doesn't matter. Whichever
I mean,
one. She hasn't seen any of them, so whichever.
Nope.
one.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to show you the best.
All right.
I'm excited.
It's mine.
Excellent.
Mine's the best. Everybody
course
else's
it
sucks. It's true though, so I only speak the truth.
We're our fact-based show.
I'm very fact-based, non-biased.
Humble? What about humble?
Nobody said anything about humble. I just said like I'm being accurate.
Okay.
They have the best chat. It is wonderful. It's wonderful.
It is.
All right, I'm sending it to you right now through Discord. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's coming. Or can I just present it?
I think you can.
Yeah, I could just share it here. I'll do that. How about that? That'll be so much easier. All right. Here we go. All right. Great. Cool. There's that. And okay, present. Yes, I understand. Entire screen. Good. Oh. All right, here we go. I'm presenting it, so you just let me know when to press play because I can't see the other screen.
You can press play.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Glenn Lawrence here. Are you tired of losing arguments to your wife like this?
I understand it makes you feel bad when I am dishonest with you. It hurts my feelings when you treat me with
Yeah, hold on one sec. I gotta shut down Premiere because I was rendering a video right now. So let me shut down Premiere and I'll put it back on. My bad.
Okay. All good.
Close this. I just finished like shooting like the next like news satire. And I chopped it up to where like I'm interviewing Kamala Harris. And it's pretty funny. So yeah. But I should be able to.
I'm actually surprised that Viking Paradigm is not in the chat.
All right, let me try it now. Entire screen, boom. All right, let me know. Ready?
Sure.
All right.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Glenn Lawrence here. Are you tired of losing arguments to your wife like this?
I understand it makes you feel bad.
Can you send it to me in a link or something?
Yeah, I gotta do that. I'll do that. I'll send it to you. It's just choppy right now. My bad.
It's all right.
I will send it to you through. Oh, wait a minute. I should already have it. Here, let me. I think it's on my videos already. Let's see.
Sorry, Samantha.
That's okay.
You should have gave me a prop. You should have let me know in advance.
Or is it Sam or Sammy or some version of that?
It doesn't really matter. My family calls me Sam. My husband calls me Samantha. I'm not a huge fan of Sammy, but I don't.
Yeah, I
really
wouldn't be a fan of Sammy either.
Yeah. Yeah. So Sam or Samantha is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, if someone calls me Sammy, I'm not gonna like throat punch them or anything, but
I would think twice.
Maybe
I might do it.
Maybe that's a problem.
maybe that is why it still comes out sometimes.
You'd have won if you'd thrown some punches.
I know. Next time.
Joe Mobley reminds Glenn that he is performing like a DEI hire.
Oh, well, thank you, Joe Mobley. I wasn't prepared to do this. I was coming to just ask questions and cause problems. But no, Grid wants me to perform.
I mean, I gotta max out, everything. So
apparently,
grill me a cheese.
What was that?
I was gonna say, Samantha laughed a lot at my joke when I sent her on her show the other night or the other day, and I didn't get the proper chuckle out of it though, because like it seemed like she was trying to be
Aw.
reserved. I was like, but you know it was funnier than that.
I can't remember which joke it
Oh,
was.
I could tell you. I remind you because I remember. It was what the Dems are mad that Trump gave her $100. What they wanted her to? Did they want him to grab her by the pussy then give
Oh
her
my
$100?
gosh.
Would that would have been better?
Oh, that was.
Hey, look, there's Viking Paradigm.
I know.
mentioned it.
Dance, Glenn.
There he
Dance.
shows up.
So see, I thought that I should have gotten a better like laugh out of you.
I'm sorry.
I've got something. Hey, Viking, I got one for you, buddy. Here you go.
Yeah. Spit on that thing. Absolutely. Say it again, y'all. Look out.
No, like, you say spit on it? Is that the Hawk Tula version?
That is the Hawk Tua version.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
What is going on?
Only you, Grid. Only you.
Hey, man. It is what it is.
All right. So that's getting sent to you right now through
That would make a
WeTransfer.
great ringtone. It would actually. I'm going to figure out how to get that file into
Oh,
my.
I need to change my background again. Damn it. Sorry, guys.
Not breaking news.
No, we're not
Breaking
breaking
news
news.
in the morning.
Let's go back to this. There we go. This is more like
Pat,
it.
you can call in if you want.
So, question for you, since you were running for office. I had an idea for president. Okay.
Oh boy.
Now
I'm going to cam down for just 1 minute. You guys,
we do
just
know
continue
that
on.
like a lot of presidents seem to have some scandals in the sexual nature, right?
Yep.
I came up with a solution because apparently Secret Service is not doing their job really well. Like they can't take a bullet. So what if they could take a dick, right? And we just hire a bunch of like hot Secret Service females, and that's who the president has his indiscretion affairs with, and no Lewinsky's or anything. It's already part of the payroll. It's already kind of built into the system. Do you think that might be a solution for scandals?
So you're saying like solve the scandal with more scandal?
Well, you know, like the churches have like SA insurance just in case one of their pastors decide to touch a little child or something. They have an insurance policy that covers it. I figured this would be the same thing. So,
You know, no. I don't think that's I don't think that, you know, when we look at our presidential candidates, a lot of people seem to, at least they pretend to have an issue with their conduct, their extramarital conduct, their affairs, whatever it is that they have going on.
I don't. I have nothing to do with them, so I have no problems with what they
Right.
do.
Well, and again, you know, we have to remember we're not voting for a priest. I mean, not that priests have a clean record anyway, but you know, we're not voting for our church pastor. So there are just certain things that we've just come to expect from these people that it's like they're probably not going to have a clean record. They're not going to have the most moral background. But I don't think the answer is just to throw in the towel and say, it's fine. You know, if we can't solve anything, then we may as well just allow anything. You know, we just may as well excuse everything, or, you know.
Well, I mean, like what I'm getting at is like the with the churches having this like SA insurance, like just in case something happens, right? Having a line of secret agents or service agents that are there for the president's, you know, indiscretions kind of is like having the insurance as the same thing. You know, like,
do you mean to engage with him or to protect him from those things?
well, I mean, to make sure that he doesn't have to go outside of the office for those things. If First Lady isn't available. Like,
no, that's a terrible idea.
What's this degeneracy, Glenn? What
Look,
what happened?
Look, I'm just going off of I've been doing this study that Michelle gave me a bunch of information on about the church, and all their insurance policies, and one of them being like the Diddy insurance, just in case they end up doing a little Diddy work. They have this insurance policy that will pay them while they're under investigation, as well as pay out
Get the
for
rocks.
the
Abdul,
you know,
get the rocks. Get the rocks.
Look, I was just trying to get somebody in politics to give me a better insight on this. Is it something that we should do?
No.
I was just trying to cover the president.
I really just had the president, his best interests in mind, you know, just looking out for him.
Yeah, I'm positive that's what Glenn was doing.
Right. That's the only
I was never going to be president. They already look, I already put my name out there. Nobody wanted me. So I even told Trump, like, look, if you get me as vice P, you will never get assassinated. Now he's already had 3 attempts.
Did
I've heard
you-
about 5.
Did you lead with that policy proposal?
No, I led with women, I am going to take away your voting rights after you vote for me. That was my first yeah.
Actually really shocked Arthur Daya has not come up.
I was just, you know, thinking like, you know, did you know Lauren Borbert?
I met her a couple of times, but that was before she was elected, you know, the first time. So she wasn't as well known. Yeah. So
She
I
wasn't
did
like
meet
a
her.
Playboy edition as she is now.
She may have been, but I don't know. Yeah. So I met her a couple times, but I didn't like know her.
So, okay, I'll ask a serious question. I was joking around earlier.
Oh.
Those were not serious questions.
Yeah, he's not that big a D-gen.
I'm not even a D-gen.
Shockingly.
Oh, there's Arthur Daya. As soon as I say take away women's voting rights, she pops up.
Of course she does.
So my question is like, there's no separation between church and state, right? That's just more of the state can't just have what's the word? The church is always supposed to be somehow involved with the state, but there's no separation there. Like that whole policy, or they think that that's the thing. There's no law that says that, right?
Well, in the Constitution.
I don't think it's in the Constitution that it says separation between church and state.
Well, they are not supposed to make a law prohibiting the, you know, practice of religion or encouraging. So, I mean, there's that separation, and that's pretty much what it's meant for. I guess it depends on what you mean by separation of church and state.
Well, if our laws are based off are derivative of the 10 Commandments,
That's bait.
there really wasn't
That's
any
bait. That's bait.
separation.
Don't go down that road. That's bait.
I'm asking some serious questions.
That's bait.
It is bait, but it's good bait.
So the thing is, Samantha, is that nowhere, anywhere in that writings does it talk about church and separation of church and state, except Thomas Jefferson, who wrote, I think, 7 pages in a letter where he describes that there should never be a separation of church and state.
Yep.
That the church must be a part of the state, and all of the original 13 colonies had a state religion that you were more or less required to be a part of, and that's bait. Don't fall for that. That's bait.
Damn you, Garrett. You know what? You're no fun.
I am not. I'm not.
You are being.
Why would you think that I'm
head right now? Okay, dickhead. Any hoosers, that took all my fun away. I really was gonna have that question.
Yeah.
I ruined. Now I have nothing else. I don't have a follow-up.
He has no bait left.
All right.
He has to cut bait and run.
I would do like to say, like, I do enjoy your content. Grid turned me on to you. And I like it. It's good stuff. And maybe one of these days I will convince you to come collaborate with me, and if you're that bored.
Can I look forward to more questions
look forward to
more loaded, severely loaded. Look
forward to some more very bad jokes.
So we argue this stuff all the time, Samantha.
Yeah.
You really need to spend a little time in the sphere. We're very good at it. It's comical. It's very comical, actually, when someone who doesn't know and they think they know because all they've done is they've listened to a bunch of jargon. They've listened to a bunch of Democrat media nonsense and they think they know, and then they just get completely wasted.
Right.
Because we actually have the facts. We argue this stuff all the time. We argue it with each other to poke holes in it so that we then fix the holes so that we can't, so we steal it, we steel man it back and forth. That was bait. And he was luring you in like a little
I was doing no such thing.
And I just want to clarify, when you're asking about separation of church and state, I have seen so many times, and this comes up particularly in the abortion argument. And this is something that was just a hot button topic, especially when I was running for office, because the lady that I was running against, she was just like, Planned Parenthood was like her entire platform. So this was just something, but it comes to the point, like when you're discussing these kind of issues and you say, my religious belief is that, it's killing a baby, it's murder, thou shalt not kill. People think that you're voting solely based on your religious belief, when it's like, well, it's also, a scientific fact that this is a baby. But, so that's when people start to throw out this separation of church and state, as in you can't allow your religion to influence how you vote.
Yeah, I tell people the difference between the modern woman and the modern tradcon. A woman is their position on abortion.
Right.
I think for the most part, they are pretty much identical other than that.
Well, and I think that I
and
don't
Greg,
think
the
it's
links in the
useful
back
to
in the private chat.
I'm sorry?
The links in the private chat.
Okay, thanks. I don't think it's useful to debate abortion, especially from or from a religious perspective. It all it really does is give someone the idea that they can just sort of it's almost downloaded. It gives somebody the idea that they can just say, well, that's your religion and I don't agree. It's much more effective to argue from the science and morality perspective, which of course morality will come back to religion, but it's
I was gonna say it comes back always to religion. If you go morality, you have to go there. You have to stick with the science, right? So they're saying that at conception, right, they can start tracking the heartbeat or whatever, or the heartbeat's at what, 6 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, it's accepted 6 weeks. Yeah, it's accepted.
Okay, so at least you can say from 6 weeks on, we know it's a living person. And the thing is if a drunk driver crashes into a pregnant woman, and whether she knows or let's say she knows that she's pregnant, they will charge him with 2 counts of vehicular homicide rather than just 1. So the law already considers it a living person in the womb. So it's like they can't pick and choose where they want to decide it's a living person, where it's not a living person.
Right. And I didn't mean to bring up abortion into this conversation. I know it is a hot button topic.
Not for us.
But
we deal with it regularly.
Yeah,
I just mean that it's like completely off the rails from what we were talking about before. But when you were saying, we shouldn't be arguing religion, I specifically remember being in these hearings because I lived in Colorado, and it's one of the only states that literally has no restrictions at all. Like no restrictions. I listened to a hearing where they had that bill where they deny medical care to babies born alive.
Virginia too, right? I think Virginia.
I know there's 6 states, but they were arguing that bill where they deny medical care to babies born alive from failed abortions. So that is something that's allowed in Colorado as well. But I remember sitting at the table, because you sit at this table in front of the hearing with all of the House members in front of you arguing for and against this bill to be passed. And I was sitting next to a guy, I think he was a minister or something, and his entire 3 minutes was spent on, they were going to go to hell, bringing up Bible verses, all of these things. And I was just sitting there like, I'm a religious person. I know I go to church every week. Like we read our Bible. Like I'm a very religious person, but I was sitting here like, they don't care. And they're literally they're going to distract completely from the conversation and think that the only thing they need to argue is that they're not religious. So therefore, they don't have to share the same opinion and everything else is irrelevant. So I completely agree. Like stop bringing these like religious things in because there's no need for it in these cases.
Yeah. Because if they don't share your worldview,
yeah,
you're not going to convince them to accept your worldview by telling them over and over again, it's murdering a baby. You should not do that. Like it's Jesus said so, like that doesn't, they don't care about Jesus. They think Jesus, what, the gardener? Who cares about the gardener?
Right. Exactly. It would make my head explode because I just knew, I'm like, these people are willing to kill unborn babies. Do you really think that they are going to, anything with God and Jesus is going to resonate with them?
Yeah, and see, and they so easily reject God and Jesus because it represents a standard that they're not measuring up to. So you reminding them of something that they don't measure up to is just going to only further push them away.
Yep.
100%.
I completely agree.
Did that get situated?
Yeah,
there?
I got it. I'm just getting it on the right screen.
Copy.
So.
Why do you guys keep calling me a CIA profiler in the chat? I'm not working for the CIA
today.
Right.
But that would be an answer that a CIA profiler would give.
That's true.
I'm already on all the
CIA
lists.
profiler would actually admit to being a CIA profiler.
I guess we'll never know.
I'm already on all the lists, so I'm good.
Right. I'm sure I'm on a list somewhere. It's fine.
I know I'm actually on a list, so
I'm sure I ended up on a list when I refused to get the jab a few years ago. I think we all ended up. That was like the start of it. So
I was on all the lists before. When you
I was on the list as soon as they put like red pill on the list. I'm sure I was on that list then. Just because of the people I work with. So thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Glenn.
Hey,
it's not all his fault. It's just mostly his fault.
I will take that. You know what? They say we don't take accountability. I will take that. That is all me. Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good. Growth industry.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I noticed some of these guys like Andrew Tate and everybody else not taking accountability. I just said, let me start the trend. I will take accountability publicly, and then maybe those guys will jump on board and, we could do this all together. But right now I'm the only one. So.
Yeah. What do you what do you think about we'll do this first. Oh wait, wrong. I got to go down here.
Your volume grid. You're not sharing the volume. You're not sharing the volume.
Yeah, all right, hang on.
Remove it from your screen.
Yeah, I gotta remove it. Then
this is a really good commercial too. Like,
yeah, that's why I'm going through all the trouble.
The anticipation is killing me, guys.
I know. It's all my fault.
I showed it to that girl like Caitlin today. That Evo psychologist that I told you that wanted to have a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And she was laughing. Also, I showed her the 1-800 slap a hoe. She thought that was pretty funny too.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. I'm all about like stopping domestic violence. So I decided to create an agency called 1-800 slap a hoe. They come in, you pay them, they'll come in and slap whoever, man or woman, non-binary, like we don't care, just whatever. And so then you don't get arrested, and you get the kind of satisfaction that you wanted from them without going to jail. So it's pretty good. Pretty
It's
good.
kind of
agency.
like a hitman, literally.
Yeah. We got 5 stars on Yelp so far, so we're pretty good.
Awesome.
Grid, you may want to turn up the volume.
Turn up the volume?
Or something.
It should be playing volume.
Yeah, we're not hearing it, bud.
I understand it makes you feel bad when I am dishonest with you. It hurts my feelings.
You're not hearing the volume?
We're hearing it from your mic.
Oh. Well, it had the volume. All right, stand by. Let me look again. This is actually annoying. Like normally these things don't annoy me, but it turned it off for some reason.
Angry Casper, stop it. Leave him alone. You spurg in my chat. You know that. That's your safe haven of spurging.
Let's try it again. See if it works.
There we go.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Glenn Lawrence here. Are you tired of losing arguments to your wife like this?
I understand it makes you feel bad when I am dishonest with you. It hurts my feelings when you treat me with contempt and corner me and try and trick me into lying.
Okay. It makes me sad when it's so easy to trick you into lying because you're such a lying shitbag.
That's not, you can't do that. You can't do that. The therapist said you're not allowed to judge me.
Are you tired of looking like a dumbass in arguments like this guy?
So let me just make sure I get this correct. Would you say, and do you promote to your audience that you're honest?
I don't think so. Well, if my audience asks who I am, what I tell them is I'm a piece of shit.
Oh, it's so fun to do this. So I just want to make sure I got this right. You're a dishonest piece of shit. Nobody should believe you. Got it.
Gosh, that was horrible. So if you're tired of losing arguments to your wife and you're tired of looking like BO in a debate, then I suggest you go to debateuniversity.com. That's right, debateuniversity.com, and learn from the man himself, Andrew Wilson, and he will teach you how you can become a master debater. No, not a masturbator, you sick fucks. Put your hands down, okay? We're not talking about that. But a master debater, and how you could learn dirty debate tactics and all the fallacies, the logical fallacies, and all that other good jazz. So if you already become a master debater, then what are you waiting for? Go to debateuniversity.com and you could look like this guy.
It is nebulous. I understand it's nebulous.
God damn it! You're still whining.
Say, thank you for prostituting yourself so I have air conditioning. Well, now, as we hang on, let me finish. My turn.
Sure. Go ahead.
So as we dive into this, though, by the way, you say that you can't make a deterministic statement, which is a deterministic statement. How dumb are you, Bosch?
Why would you do anything if you didn't care?
So what are you waiting for? Go to debateuniversity.com right now and sign up and learn how to be a great debater and stop looking stupid in arguments and debates. Shit, dumbass. All you got to do is go to debateuniversity.com and click enroll now.
For $500?
Yeah, it's $500. It is. It's a legit thing. But I mean, it's kind of worth it. I'm gonna, my wife and I are gonna get it for our son, so that he can, destroy people in verbal combat.
I actually know who Andrew Wilson is now that I see that. I've seen him on the Whatever podcast before. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, I totally know who this. I gotta be honest, I am not a big fan. So
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think he does decently well, but I don't know. It's for me, it's like if Andrew Tate and Ben Shapiro had a baby. That's
Well, he is a blood sport debater.
Yeah.
So he is, he's while he what really throws people is he's a really good classical debater as well, which it really throws people. But when you're dealing with someone like Destiny or Vaush or any of those guys, or Vosh, pardon me, I mean, it's blood sport. I mean, they're gonna beat you with rhetoric. They won't actually debate you properly.
Right.
So you might as well, and it's actually part of the course is how to use how to play dirty, right? Like
Right.
how to get people angry, how to get them off of their game. So
Interesting.
I like, yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I knew a lot of that. I I do not like to debate personally, partially because I tend to be a little too brutal debating, and I just want it to be over really quickly, and it's not as much fun for people to watch. Andrew has a great style where he will actually help people along so that he can destroy them completely later. So it makes great YouTube.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sure that he has some great things to teach people. Just he's not my style. So
Yeah.
and so I mean I am well aware he's got a huge fan base. People love him. I think he's got to be one of those people. It's
Yeah,
like
Andrew didn't
you
make
either love
that.
him or
Who
hate
said
him.
that?
Huh?
I'm sorry. I read something in chat. Who said that Andrew made Destiny? Destiny's been like 4 times bigger than Andrew the entire time. Like I think Andrew just now has he has well over 100,000 subs now, but when he was debating and destroying Destiny, he had like 5,000 subs and he absolutely bodied him every single time. So
Yeah. Joe says Vivek, Trent Horn, and Charlie Kirk are more his style. Completely agree. That's more my style. I mean, I understand it's difficult.
yeah, but they lose.
I wouldn't say that. I would disagree, but I think in this political climate, it's rare that you get that like civil debate that they tend to more engage in. I mean, you get more of the Andrew Wilson type debate where, the person that you're talking to generally just really doesn't have any idea what they're talking about. So there really is no point in trying to be even remotely intellectual because it's just going to go right over their head. So it really is just about throwing the gloves off and, all bets are off.
Yeah. So like the Ben Shapiro Destiny debate, Destiny did get bodied by Ben Shapiro just because he didn't have Destiny relies on his chat of 10,000 people to literally supply him with answers while he's debating. If you take that away from him, he's terrible.
So that's like his version of a teleprompter.
Yeah, it is actually. I missed something where somebody's like, what did I missed? Somebody's like, I'm not being genuine, but we shouldn't all agree to be honest. Who said that? I don't. Oh, Crazy Mom. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and Andrew is actually the best faith argument. Like he will literally help you. He will define your argument for him. Yeah, okay, Joe. I understand people, everybody loses. I'm not saying that, but but Andrew, I didn't like Andrew initially, right? Like first of all, I thought he was kind of off, and I didn't really like. I just didn't like him that much. He kind of won me over because his style is really, it's really adaptive. So one of the things that he's really good at is he's really good at mirroring energy. So if you come hard at him, he will come back at you hard. And if you subside and start talking normally again, he'll just match that energy. He'll ramp right down. If you ramp back up, he's going to ramp back up. And I think that that's a very interesting kind of it's a very interesting dynamic. So, and I don't see that in like Vivek, for instance. I don't see that in Vivek. Vivek tries to beat you with intelligence and not so much rhetoric, and that's okay. Shapiro talks really fast. He can match energy pretty well. But he's a kid gloves kind of guy. He could have bodied Destiny a lot harder than he did. And he should have. He should have just absolutely destroyed Destiny when he had the opportunity. Charlie Kirk, I don't know. He's well rehearsed. I don't know he's a good debater. The interesting thing is that, first of all, Andrew, I think, can debate anybody on anything, and he puts more prep time into it than most people. I will say that if you have to talk about if you want to talk about a purely actually better than Andrew debater, the best debater I think out there right now is Rob Noor. Rob Noor even took a position that he knew he was going to lose, and he still made an exceptional effort of it. And I respect him for that. So Rob Noor is probably the best internet debater out there. I think he's better than Andrew. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. A lot of people think Andrew's a dick, but he literally I mean, he's told this story before. I don't think it's out of school. He said this before. I think he'd be okay with this. So he was out at whatever, one of the first times he was out there. And one of the kids that was helping in the studio, the battery went dead in their car. And Andrew bought them a battery to put in their car. And that's, that was pretty cool, right? I mean, people just don't do that. T-Wizard, what's a fallacy? I'm not actually debating now, but what was fallacious? What did I say? Oh, Andrew absolutely does it, and that's that is actually my criticism of Andrew. Ghost actually, my problem with Andrew is that he does it as much. He's very good at playing the arguments for YouTube, but he wins. I mean, he wins the debates. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm definitely willing to give Andrew more of a chance. Yeah. I mean, and I know somebody said
what's a fallacy? Did I miss something? Then I haven't. I feel like I missed something. What's a fallacy? T-Wizard. What did I say is just it was a fallacy? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're being sarcastic. I was like, no, I'm no, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure even Andrew would admit that Rob's a better debater. Purely from a technical and skill level, that Rob Noor is better. I really like Rob Noor too. I think he's a great guy. I think he's like salt of the earth kind of guy. So Glenn had to go get his stream ready. He's gonna go live here in just a few minutes. All right. Do we have any other callers? I was hoping Kat or somebody that wasn't trying to bait poor Samantha
It's okay.
into something.
Ghost, no, I do not have a Discord. I don't have Discord. Sorry.
Oh, you should definitely get Discord. Should definitely get Discord. I had to. I was like, "What's a Discord?" And they're like, "Oh, it's this." And I'm like, "That's cool. That's very cool."
I think I've been a little bit scared of Discord. I remember having a conversation the first time I ever really heard about it. A girl was talking to me about how she pretends to be like an anime character and like a pornographic anime character, and she like, I don't know exactly how she does it, but she acts out in this anime character and people pay her for it. And I was like, I don't think I need Discord. So I don't know what exactly it was.
Mods, link the Discord in the chat. I have my own Discord server. It's a safe space. You're welcome there. You can use my Discord. That's fine.
Where have I seen Samantha before? That was a question in the chat. I don't know.
8 is enough. No, that's too old a TV show. I don't know. Some TV show probably. T-Wizard, do you think Rob is a great debater, but Andrew is bulletproof? He's really good, man. I mean, it's really, really hard to actually... It's really hard to actually beat Andrew. He can't be beaten, but it's tough. It's so tough. There's the Discord link. So you just go there and you'll be in my Discord. It's a safe space. Nobody will hurt you. There's no pornography. I would ban, and then I don't know what else I would do if somebody did pornography in my Discord. Discord's great weird because you can have voice chat. It's very easy to have a quick. It's have a very quick meeting. You can do voice and video chat in Discord. Discord's very handy. Sharing files is like super easy.
I just want to clear up. No, I am not on TV.
CIA lady versus Andrew.
Yeah, I know. Nope, I do not have a TV show. I am not a CIA agent. We're just nipping all of these little rumors in the bud.
I don't know what's going on between Joe and Angry Casper, but Angry Casper is being uncharacteristically angry. So, CIA Lady's YouTube channel. That's funny. You're gonna have to get a CIA jacket now.
I will.
Just get Joe to loan you one.
Awesome.
I appreciate that, Angry Casper. I didn't see Joe continue. I would have asked him to kindly leave you alone. It's okay. It's okay, young man. It's fine. I'm not being a dick on purpose. I'm in a good mood. Have you watched whatever?
I have watched clips of whatever. I've never watched an entire podcast. I don't think I have the patience for that.
Well, it's 8 hours, so
yeah, no. So I've watched some clips. It's been illuminating.
Illuminating. All right, that's cool. All right. It's really interesting.
Yeah, interesting is a good word for it.
No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do a 6-hour show. You're welcome to come on, Angry Casper. You're welcome to talk to the CIA lady. You're absolutely welcome to do that. But I'm not going to go 6 hours. I just don't do that. I used to, but I don't anymore. I'm reformed. Someone give Casper the link. Casper, are you on Discord? If you're on Discord, go to my Discord and grab the link.
Have you been profiled? Not yet.
I
wouldn't tell you if you had.
One of the Protestant Christian feminine. Oh, where do you stand on feminism? I forgot all about feminism. You're not appropriate, Casper. Well, you don't cam up. What do you mean you're not appropriate? Are you not drunk enough? Is that what you're trying to say? Are you too sober? Or no, or you're not sober enough? I don't know. What are you trying to say?
Where do I stand on feminism?
Yeah.
I'm definitely not a feminist.
Can we get Andrew on? I sent him the link. If he wants to come on, he'll come on. I always send Andrew and Brian the link to the show, and they will randomly appear. Although Brian has been very shy, but Andrew comes on quite a bit. Okay, so what part of you is not decent? You never cam up anyway. Chat only mode. That's cool. Oh, I'm interrupting every time she's talking. Okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I am rude. Andrew's on VK. Oh, now I got to go over to VK. Leave us sobering. I don't drink at all. Never have. You've enjoyed this live? Hopefully you enjoy them all. I try and do a good show. So, yeah.
I do have to say it is getting a little bit late for me.
Well, I was about to say I've got 4 minutes, and
Okay.
it's the magic hour. Do you submit to your husband against your will? If you submit, that's not against your will.
What kind of a question is that?
Well, because traditionally women are to submit to their husbands. I
am all for traditional roles in the home. I think that the word submit is misused and misunderstood. My husband is the leader in our home, but we are definitely a partnership. He doesn't control the home. He doesn't dominate the home. He is not the only person with an opinion and a voice in the home. But I respect my husband and he respects me.
Quite what submit means, but I get where you're coming from.
I just don't think that submit means when people say, do you submit to your husband? It's like, I respect my husband and he leads the home.
If your husband came home and said, hey, we need to spend X amount of money on this, and you said, no, I don't think so. And he said, well, sorry, I'm going to do it anyway. What would your reaction be?
Well, seeing as he has access to our bank account, I mean, if he could choose to do that, and regardless of my opinion, but that would be a really big problem. So, I mean, it depends on what it is and what it would do to our finances, but it would be a big problem as far as our trust and respect. So, and that's not something that I would.
But if you really trusted him, then you would be okay with it.
Well, I think that you can abuse that trust. And if you become someone who abuses somebody else's trust, then that's a problem that needs to be worked through. I mean, me submitting as a wife does not mean I put up with crappy behavior from my husband. So I
think we're talking past each other on that. So all right. If I said we're moving, all right, I shouldn't use me as an example. if Bay Street Racer, who's not married, but if he came home and told his wife, we're moving from wherever the hell he is, I think he's in California. I don't know. We're moving from California. You're quitting your job tomorrow. Give him 2 weeks, and we're moving to Arkansas. If his wife objected to that, what would be the objection to that? Because he's the leader of the family, in theory.
Well, in theory, but I don't. The issue for me is when we're taught to submit to our husbands, when, we grow up, because I've grown up in a religious household. I think that, there's so much focus on women being taught to submit to their husbands and not enough discussion about what that means for the man. That does not mean that you get to just do whatever you want. We need to be able to teach men to be righteous leaders in the home so that they're not abusing that position of power. And so when I have that understanding with my husband, I know, but no. Let me just finish.
Okay.
So when he comes home and he says, I got a new job, or we're moving, or we have to do this, like, I am trusting that if he is making that call, it's coming from a good place and not from this, my opinion matters more than yours. It's coming from a place of this, because I know who he is as a person. He's doing what's best for our family, and he's not doing it out of selfishness. But when you're raising men to think that being the leader in the home means that you get to do whatever you want, that you get to tell your wife what to do, that you don't get to, consider what it means for everybody else in the home, then you start to raise the wrong kind of man, even with righteous intentions, if that makes sense. So, and I think that's where a lot of feminists have this idea about what it means to be a conservative wife, what it means to be a traditional wife. It means that we're just letting these men, we're raising them to think that they can do whatever they want as the leader in the home, and women, we don't have a say in that. When in reality, it's raising men to be righteous so that when decisions are made, if there is a big decision made, we know and we have that trust that it's coming from a place of, I'm doing this because I love my family.
We're going to have to continue this because this will be a great but long conversation around, again, we're kind of I feel like we're talking past each other a little bit, because obviously abuse is one thing, but like, for example, and hang on. Got a super chat coming in. We'll read this. Good show once again, Grid One. Muchos gracias. Thank you, Intel Wild. I really appreciate the $5 American. We always, we like American money here, so that's good. Thank you very much, sir. We're gonna have to do another show, but maybe we'll have to do it again next week, because this is something I think that people misunderstand to some degree, but also either you live in a patriarchal dynamic where you're not equal, but you don't look at it as abuse. And there's the example often is there's a couple of examples that are used, but I'm going to do this poorly. I don't want to do this poorly. This is like a long conversation to have, because you can't really have a Christian relationship without patriarchy. You can't really it's just such a long conversation to have to try and condense it into 3 minutes.
I'm not arguing against patriarchy.
Okay. Well, it sounds like your problem is that you see the potential for abuse, and you are let me make sure let me clarify your position, because I want to make sure I have this right. So if your husband came home and he said, life here, it's just, Dallas or Fort Worth, wherever you're at, this is terrible. Like, it's borderline too expensive. We're not getting ahead. Our money's not right. I've been looking at jobs. I don't actually have a job yet, but I've been looking at jobs in South Carolina or wherever, and we're gonna, I've already booked the U-Haul. We'll figure everything else out as we go. Would you follow that leadership, or do you say, no, we need to plan more, we need to drag our feet, we need to, I need to have a say in, I need to have some say in this, or how does that go? I'm just curious, and I'm not judging here. The chat is going crazy right now. It's great.
I know this is not something to bring up, 3.5 hours into this, guys.
I know, right? We're
gonna
gonna have to table this. We're gonna have a great discussion. It's gonna be a great discussion. We've had a great discussion tonight. It was absolutely wonderful.
Sorry, just looking at the chat.
I know, right? The chat is
yeah, no, I mean, if my husband came home and said exactly what you just said, of course I'm going to want to know what he's talking about. I mean, I don't see me asking questions as being against his leadership. I mean, like, it's not that I'm saying that I would immediately have to be like, okay, but I have to have an equal say in this. Like, I have to feel like I'm as much a part of this decision. It's just like,
Sure.
I would need to know where this is coming from, but I wouldn't immediately shove it off the table or dismiss what he was saying. Like,
right. So that's the question, right? Are you just clarifying, or do you have objections? And this is where I think we talk past each other, because clarification's fine. Like, okay, where are we going to move to? How are we going to do it? Do you really have a plan here? Do I need to help with this in some way? That's one thing. And I think that would be the more correct and proper way. Saying, no, hold on. You didn't consult me. I need to have an opinion on this. You didn't ask my opinion.
No, that would not be my approach at all.
I'm going to just stand here. I'm going to stick in the mud until I'm happy with moving forward. And this is I think, this is what I think people confuse a lot of times. And I'm gonna let you have the last word on that, and then we're gonna table this, and we're gonna do this probably next week. And no, we're not gonna do it tomorrow night, guys. Tomorrow night, Glenn and I are gonna talk about something for a short, brief period, and then we're gonna have a chill stream. We'll have some guests. Samantha's welcome to come back tomorrow night for a little bit. It's not gonna be it's gonna be a chill stream tomorrow night. We're not going to go heavy duty and all of that. Arthur Daya, hopefully you can come on earlier. I hope you're okay. I saw that you're without power there in Florida. I hope you're okay, and I hope you continue to be okay. Casper, come back tomorrow, dressed appropriately, and you can come up on the stage as well, and it'll be great. So Arthur Dye is not a lefty. She is a feminist. It's not the same thing. It's close. She's just a feminist. It's okay. She's not going to hurt you if you don't let her. Okay. It's like a vampire. Unless they get their fangs in you, they're pretty harmless.
I don't know about that. That's not what I know about vampires. But they drain the life out of you, actually.
Right. Okay. Well, have the last word on the topic, and then we'll do our outro and
I'm not ever going to put my foot down on the basis that my husband didn't consult me, and that he has to that because I wasn't included in the conversation, that it's just completely off the table, and I'm going to be offended because I'm feeling like he disrespected me. It's just and it's interesting because I think a lot of my reaction is less about feminism and more just about two things. In our household, I am more likely to be the one to be like, we should move. And my husband wouldn't be like, okay, but he is just someone that like doesn't like change. So it's always been a lot harder. Whereas I'm like, let's go running full steam ahead and try. So just based on our personality and our dynamic, like I'm just more likely to be that person that would say, let's just completely move to another state. In fact, that's actually kind of how we ended up in Texas. But and also I just have a very strong personality. So for me to just sit back and it's a personality thing. It's not a feminist thing. It's just ask my mom.
I get that. I understand.
Yeah,
my wife is the same way. My wife is the same way. This is gonna be a great discussion because my wife is kind of the same way, and that's it. So we'll do this Wednesday or next Friday. It'll be great. It's gonna be a great conversation for everyone. And Joe, you need to carve out some time to be on panel as well. It's not a call out. I'm not saying it's okay, but you got to carve out some time, man. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna send you guys. Glenn, I think, is live or is going to go live, and you guys can go hang out with him for a little while. Let's see if he's up. I think he's in his intro reel. So you guys go hang out and have a great time over there. I will. I might go to Verbal Combat for a few minutes. And last week, I did Verbal Combat. I destroyed John Smith. I felt bad about that. And then I went against Chris Lestrange. I destroyed him as well. However, someone paid to have me kicked off because they were afraid of me. And which is fine. It's fine. They literally said I was too big a threat to stay. So I don't know if I want to go do that again, but it's fun.
Now I'm the CIA feminist. I love it.
Is CIA feminist? Look, the chat is awesome. The chat they can't get enough.
That's hilarious. I love it. With my own TV show.
Your own TV, yeah. You're it's gonna be good. All right, you guys have a great night. As always, you're wonderful, but get off my lawn and go away.